friendship that'll never ever end.
Greetings and welcome to Unveiling Reality. How's everybody doing out there this evening? Hope you're all doing and living well. Welcome to Unveiling Reality. Before we get started, let me thank all those awesome people out there in the winner's circle who make it happen on a monthly basis. Thank you so much for being part of the solution. And a big thanks to Shelly Wolfram and Ronnie Jams, who also support us over on Rumble as well. We are broadcasting live tonight on Rumble, YouTube, and X, and away we go. Tonight on Unveiling Reality, we're going to be featuring a prominent de-grifter out there, someone doing the same stuff we're doing here, but makes an entire channel out of it. Has been doing it for quite a while. He recently gave a great rundown on the history of the crash retrieval grift, or as he calls it, the cash retrieval grift. But I thought it was some really great information, and it goes along with what we're doing here. And I wanted to share that with you this evening, and it will set the tone for what we'll be doing later in the show. And that is looking further into the crash retrieval grift going on currently. And what we'll be looking at in that is some bombshell information coming from this guy who I haven't talked about yet on the show. But it's this guy named Danny Sheehan, and he is a lawyer, and he seems to like to represent these UFO grifters, and he seems to be a believer, but he maybe inadvertently or intentionally dropped some information about Jake Barber, which kind of sets things into perspective in terms of how all these UFO grifts and alien grifts could be. And what I've long suspected is the true reality of these things. So we'll take a look at that, as well as some other stuff tonight dealing with those topics, including a person that who's come out and has debunked that tic-tac-toe video. I've long suspected that it wasn't what it was presented as. Again, going back down into the idea that all of these UFO alien narratives that are out there, orchestrated by these people who never deliver on their words, their ideas, their promises, their disclosure, as you would call it. And that they just continue to sprinkle out a little bits of things that you can't prove. They never deliver on disclosure, and then they cry about the fact that the government's covering things up. Is that really the case? We're going to go down that rabbit hole again tonight and further try to examine what is really going on in the world when it comes to these. And why is it so damn popular? Well, I think we know that, right? I think we know why it's so damn popular. It's because people want to believe, right? And as I've often said, most of this, in fact, all of it's based on a false premise, because we have zero evidence to date, zero proof to date that aliens have ever visited Earth. And in my my playlist, Unveiling Reality, beginning to end, the UFO alien rabbit hole, I walk through the stages of indoctrination, video by video, over a 10 video series, and then I've been adding to the tail end of that series with the new stuff. So and in that, I talk about how in the first veil, or the establishment narrative world, where people who don't necessarily understand they're being subverted by media and other things, right? They kind of go along to get along, happy-go-luckies, people who are prospering in that environment and don't want anything to change. The people who basically believe the bad guys are the good guys, and the good guys are the bad guys. They will get introduced to a show called Ancient Aliens on the History Channel, and it's neither history nor accurate. It's something that we thoroughly debunk, but a lot of people get their foundations of belief from that show, believing that there were ancient aliens here that showed up with all the technology in the world, but decided to build things out of stone. Kind of crazy. But at the same time, that show goes along, confirms a lot of bias, by which people will then automatically default to the false belief that aliens have actually been to planet Earth. Now, this isn't to get confused with, well, could alien life exist out there in this vast universe? I think most people would agree it's probably likely, but that doesn't mean they've ever been here, we've ever seen any of it, right? That's the false premise these guys operate on. If you notice that the way they start out everything is by assuming that to be true. And when you start with a false premise, everything you do after that is false logic. Therefore, it's all one big grift, right? And you'll see that they jumped the shark by not trying to prove aliens have actually been to Earth in any meaningful way. Um, they just assume it's true. So that makes therefore alien UFO equal alien, right? In their mind. And then you get a lot of people who just don't even realize. I think a lot of people don't even realize they're doing it, that they're already assuming aliens have been to Earth. And when you do that, you open the door to being grifted, subverted, and roped into a false belief system, and buying into people like Stephen Greer and uh, Jake Barber and Will Cox. I also wanted to go back, and we're going to go over to X tonight too. And I want to go back and show you that another degrifter that's out there was recently confronted by Jake Barber in his DMs, making threats to him. It seemingly threats to him. And so I want to review that later in the show as well. What we'll do tonight is to Steven Cambian. I hope I said his name right. I think I did. Cambian. Dedicated truth seeker. His channel is called Truth Seekers, and he's doing really well. He's doing really great. I like his stuff. I think he's a pretty base dude. And you're going to see tonight his historical breakdown of the UFO crash retrieval grift. It goes way back. It's not just Jake Barber. It's not just what we've been hearing about recently with Lou Elizondo and other grifters that are out there. They actually are getting our taxpayer dollar time by going and wasting time in Congress and testifying to things they don't ever prove, we never see. It's just a bunch of, I don't even know how they get in there, man. Honestly, I'll show you on X2 where I retweeted or reposted one of Steven's posts today, making that point, and I directed it to Doge and I directed it to Elon. But I'll show you that as well. And but we're going to start off with Steven Cambian from Truth Seekers and his very, very, very detailed historical breakdown of the crash retrieval grift. And I think you guys will really dig him, especially if you're liking the show and like what I'm doing here. I think you'll see that he is on par with what we're doing here and beyond, as this is what he dedicates his channel to. So I definitely want to call out all the people doing the good work out there. And I do the show once a week. It's not solely what my channel is about. I do a lot of other stuff too, but it's an important part of what my channel is about, and that is confronting mind control apparatuses and abuse systems. And grifters are abusers. So and that's where we merge there, and we are on the same page, same team, the same de-grifting community that's out there. And that de-grifting community needs to be bigger than the other communities that they seek to de-grift, like the UFO alien community. The UFO community, they call it. I'm like, well, really? What does that even mean? I mean, well, I'll get to that, but I don't even know what that means. But the de-grifter community needs to rise up and come together and become a united front against grifters in general. And Steven does a lot of that on his channel too. He goes after other people who are doing different kind of grifts as well. But his focus seems to be around the UFO alien grift that's out there. He also seemed to have gotten on the bad side of David Wilcox, which I've blasted him plenty of times here as well. Total grifter. Never comes through, never has. The guy who unleashed Drake Kent Bailey, the original Q, onto the world, platformed him and gave him a wave that he rode for many months, trying to discredit and perhaps set up patriots of the Ron Paul revolution. So I've been over that story many times. I did a whole stream about my my part in taking him down way back when. And so that's out there as well. But yeah, that's the David Wilcox connection there. Not to mention he's a disgrace to his hometown. That's all I'm going to say about that. And so yeah, David Wilcox has a thing for Steven for some reason. he thinks that Steven's like stole money from him or something. I don't even know how they know each other, or if they do. I think he just saw that Steven was probably blasting him and de-grifting his little hover car scheme, and decided to make shit up about him. That's usually how these clowns work, is when the light gets shined on them, suddenly they're going to start making shit up about you. Kind of like Maxine Waters did today. with Elon Musk making up that Elon hacked the election when Elon exposed that she was somehow getting a lot of millions of dollars from some places. And it didn't really make sense for a congresswoman to have all that money, does it? I'll show you what I posted about that on X later as well, as another thing. But let me say hello to this awesome crowd out there, the most base crowd on the internet. What is going on out there, guys? MJ, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Good to see you. Good to see you. Says hello to me and everyone. And there is Wolfram. Wolfram, my friend. Thank you for dropping these links. And guys, remember, when you're here, to always listen to the Wolf. He knows what he's talking about. I tell you this every night, and it still is true every night. He knows what he's talking about. He wipes his paws. He lopes in and he howls. That's how you know the Alpha Mod is in the house. All right. Who we got up here next? Cynthia Fire Fairy. How you doing? I always want to say Firefox, but it's Fire Fairy. How you doing, Cynthia? Good to see you. Good to see you. Libby, my friend. How you doing? Good to see you, Libby. Welcome to the show, Libby. And Heidi, thank you for holding it down over there on the Rumble side for us. Heidi, how you doing, Heidi? Good to see you. Good to see you. What else we got? I got the Snipe Hunter. Snipe Hunter, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. And there is Shelly talking trash and truth. She couldn't get into Rumble, but there she is. Oh man, that is our hostess with the mostest. She's everywhere you want to be. She's giving you hugs as you walk in the door. Yep, there's Shelly talking trash and truths. All right. Who else we got swinging in here? All right. I think that's our VIPs in the front row this evening. Thank you guys, each and every one of you, for being here. We're gonna have a great show this evening. You guys are gonna enjoy. I think you're really gonna enjoy Steven's take on this, because there's a lot of interesting history that I didn't know about, and it's a great education on and it really sets the stage again. It really sets the stage for understanding what people like Jake Barber and Noel Elizondo and Gresh, and Dave Gresh, Ross Cole Hart, that whole group, which is interesting. I think one day we need to break down how these teams line up. Maybe some other people out there in the De-Grifter community understand. Hey, there's RB. How you doing, RB? Understand. Right, Levy. Yeah, the original Q had, the original Q involved UFOs too. How about that? Isn't that great? Yeah, you know what original Q's doing now? He thinks he's a trans-dimensional super soldier. He went from somehow he went from a patriotic militia guy to a new age trans-dimensional super soldier. How did that happen, huh? How did that happen? I knowing what I know now, had I picked up on it then, I probably would have been a little ahead of the curve. Knowing that David Wilcox is the one who broke him in, launched the story. And yes, the Q reason why I call him the original Q is because the Q that came afterwards borrowed a lot of his stuff, which I pointed out in that stream. Hopefully I did a good job of that. But he borrowed, the trust the plan, that was Drake. Drake did that first. Red light, green light, yellow light, whatever, all these things. The perp walking, all this stuff was Drake did it first. So at least he's got some claim to fame there in his life. But yeah, it was the grifter Wilcox who originally launched him. I think back in those days he had a little bit more credibility, but I guess more people had not gotten on the de-grifting train at that point. But really has none now. He sits in the studio with this guitar in the same spot every night, begging for money. So I don't think he's doing too good these days. But he seemed to want to go after Steven for some reason, and it ain't gonna work out good for him. Ain't gonna work out good for Wilcox because he has no receipts. Steve has them all. All right, so yeah, I think you guys are really gonna enjoy this. I want to get into it because it's let me see, it's a little bit of time. We're not gonna watch this whole stream, but we're gonna watch a good portion of it up front, and we'll stop and comment along the way. Much in agreement, I'm sure, and just pointing out some interesting things that happened. But I wanted to fill you guys in with this history because it's important that we kind of share this stuff out so people have a good base of knowledge to work with, right? And that's what he's done. And you'll see here that he has a wealth of research. He's been doing this stuff as long as I have, but I guess more, and maybe more in a public way. But he has great reach, great following, and I think he's even live right now, actually. But anyways, we will check it out. And let me go ahead and cue that up so we can get going on it. Let's see. There it is. Okay. All right, there we go. I'm gonna cue it up right there. All right. Let's see. I love sci-fi. Everybody's enjoyed alternative history and alternative dimension stuff. Yeah, I know. It's conspiratainment, which I always call it. It's conspiratainment, but then when people start taking it seriously and start wasting our government's time looking into bullshit and demanding disclosure, and then you see that here's the part where it gets really dangerous, right? This is the part that I don't like. This is the part that I fight against it for, amongst other reasons besides just flat out abusing people. Is that it drives a wedge, right? So it drives a wedge, and you may have people that are completely based in a lot of ways, right? But they've latched onto this false belief about UFO alien stuff because of people like Stephen Greer and Jake Barber and others. And they then when the government doesn't tell them what they want, that doesn't confirm their bias when they come out and say, well, here's the stuff, right? And I think that's going to happen. And that's what I said would happen about New Jersey. Remember? And so what happens when Trump comes out and tells the truth that it wasn't anything at all, right? It was just commercial drones and FAA licensed drones flying around. People are going to turn on him then. So that drives a wedge. And we don't want that, because there's some people that really, 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 really want this stuff to be true. They want it to be true so bad they don't even realize how bad they want it to be true, right? They don't know that they're divorcing themselves from logic in a lot of ways when they're wanting their deepest fantasies to come true about sci-fi, and that could drive a wedge, right? It could be a wedge issue. Now, I haven't seen the establishment goes as far as to jump onto that bandwagon yet, and who knows how desperate they'll get. Will they promise fake disclosure to a bunch of people and never deliver on it just to get back into power? They'll do anything to get back into power. Never forget that. But the whole deal is that the UFO alien rabbit hole asks you to do very little to change the world and to make an effect on it, right? They just they just ask for your consent, right? They want you to get behind their grift. That's easy enough, Then you can get into the funnel, right? The sales funnel. You buy the videos, you buy the shirts. I want disclosure, you do this to help the cause out, right? Now you're helping the cause out. Never mind the venture capitalists salt that's behind a lot of this stuff right now, and how much money they have coming in. What is the purpose, right? That's things we're going to talk about later in the show. But what really is the purpose? It's all about them making money off of you. But is there a deeper purpose too? Is it a way for people to make money, but also to run cover at the same time? Or is it like we've talked about in the past, where it's just simple handling, right? They're going to do this. So if you want a group to run cover, you simply enable them, right? And now they're running cover for your new military tech that you're testing out, or whatever it is, right? Or you're trying to do some like Cold War tactics of, stoking your enemy into a frenzy by believing there's more sophisticated weaponry out there than they have, or there's some unexplained kind of thing going on, causing them to make moves, right? There's that. But when you don't have to necessarily be hand in hand with someone you're handling, you just basically have to enable them. You have to prompt them. You have to give them the cause. And when the government or the military or anything comes out and goes, we don't know what it is, that opens the door for these guys, right? Oh, we'll fill in the gaps for you, man. Sure, we know what it is. It's this. It's that. Stephen Greer. It's the deep underground bunker guys from the skunk works and military corporate conglomerations, and they're shooting down UFOs left and right, and they're reverse engineering their technology, and they have Star Trek stuff all the way up and down the board. Yeah, and so then the only thing they do with that is come out once a year and fly things around and try to troll people. That's what you would do with that type of technology, right? If you had everything from Star Trek and your vaunted 0 point energy, when you just go around trolling people once a year, yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? Anyways, so people latch onto it, they don't realize it. But the other thing is they just say stand down. You get far enough down that rabbit hole, and suddenly you got the Galactic Federation of Light coming to save your ass. Suddenly you got the Galactic Federation of Light You're saying we're going to take, saying that you're going to you sit still and we're gonna help you evolve to the fourth and fifth dimension or whatever it is that week. And we just have to, you guys have to just not be nuclear armed and all that stuff. Oh, and by the way, I found that old video of the UFO supposedly shooting down the missile. Like we'll take a look at that too later in the show. But anyways, yeah. So that's the stand down order, right? Don't get involved with government. The government is against the aliens, or the government is nuclear, for war, nuclear arms, and the aliens won't save us until we do. So, you don't have to do anything but wait for the aliens. And then those people don't get involved. The establishment, the corrupt establishment, takes over, runs over. They're not voting. They're not fighting against what's bad in the world. They're just standing around waiting for aliens to come save them. That's the other damage that the alien UFO rabbit hole grift does to people, causes them to stand down and not get involved in becoming part of the solution. So that's why we call these people out, and that's why we go in and we learn as much as possible, because you're going to run across some people that really do believe this one day, and you're going to be like popping out with this wealth of knowledge like you wouldn't believe, and they're going to be like, whoa, never thought of it that way. You'll learn how to plant the seed, you'll learn how to make a difference, and that's fun to do as well. It's also fun to understand how grifters get over on people, and because that way you don't getting over on by the grifters. Yeah, that's right. Let's go to the chat here real quick before we get started. Where did we leave off? All kinds of people here. Okay, cool. Anybody near coming in? Hello. I think I left off with the Arby. There's Arby. Okay. Hello, Arby. Hello. Anyone want sliders? This comes to mind because of the transdimensional comment. I remember Sliders. I think I do. I think I remember that show. So there's Wolfram. Wolfram remembers that show too. All right. Got some singing going on by some Beatle covers going on out there. Yeah, some people just really want it to happen. Some people want excitement in their life. Well, we can get excitement, but I mean, you got to stay based, man. Based in reality. That's what it's about. The Tartarian Empire and the World Fair stuff. Oh yeah, the mud flood. I had promised to go over that at some point, so maybe on an off week I took last week off from unveiling, so I got a lot of catching up to do. But maybe coming up soon I'll talk about the Tartarian Empire and the mud flood, and it's all about overwriting history every so often, and that explains why there's all these orphans. And yeah, the guy who does it is a great storyteller. The guy who's made this mud flood grift, erasing history every so often, every so many generations, they erase history and somehow they flood everything over with mud, right? And then there's a bunch of orphans, and then the orphans don't remember their history. They go off and they train them to become like the next I don't know, elite families. I don't remember it that well, but I do remember it. The guy who tells the stories about the mud floods has a great like storyteller voice, kind of like Drake. Drake had a great storyteller voice. Some of these guys do, some of these guys don't, but he has a great one. So yeah, the Tartarian Empire and mud flood. Ozawi, what's up, Ozawi? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome to the show. Let's see. Establishment politicians are all lizard people. Yeah, that's the David Icke. That's the David Icke take right there. And again, if you go further enough down the rabbit hole, you'll eventually get to transdimensional lizard people. Yes, they're down there too. Talked about that as we went through the David Icke rabbit hole. It's tied into transdimensionalism and stuff like that. And so he's the one who'll take you into the rabbit hole and say, well, these UFOs are coming through different dimensions, or that he's a little, and he's still down in the conspiratainment. Well, he's not as big on the UFO stuff, but he is big on the alien stuff in a different way, right? Transdimensional aliens, right? They're coming through you. They're coming to get you. They're going to feed off your fear, and so you're not supposed to fear anything, and then you're okay. I tell you what, though, if you start believing that shit, you start believing there's a transdimensional lizard feeding off you, like that shit will mess with your head. That's not fair to some people actually buying that shit. They're like, oh my God, right? They start doing crazy stuff to themselves. But yeah, we'll take a look at the Tartarian Empire eventually. We're gonna get started here on our video in just a second here. We gotta get going here. I think we're good to go. All right, guys. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to Steven Cambian of Truth Seekers, and this great rundown of the history, the long history goes way back of the UFO crash retrieval, cache retrieval grift. All right, here we go. Now I'm gonna have to skip ahead in some spots. So just chill with me, but no, always good. And remember, we do everything here at winning speed. All right, there we go.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. We are back on track and ready to attack. Tonight's broadcast is really the idea came to me from Phil J. 1974 on Twitter, who made the wonderful thumbnail. I just added the lettering. When we talk about UFO crash retrievals and talk about them, we have. After all, I did something like 24 hours of material on
Yes, you heard it right.
Roswell crash alone. I've done maybe 8 hours of material on the Kecksburg crash. We did an entire series on UFO crash retrievals, including the Kingman crash, the crash at Corona, and many, many others. What I've walked away from that experience with is really what Phil J hit on, and that is it's not really about UFO crash retrievals. It's about UFO cache retrievals. This, we must bear in mind, after all, is a very lucrative industry. Some have described the UFO and alien business as a billion-dollar industry. And I can't really say that I disagree with that. For sure, at the very least, we know there are hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars being generated by sometimes less than ethical people. And so we must always bear in mind, and I'm very fond of the saying, the people who are promoting these stories, they're not telling you a story, they are selling you a story. And often people will remark to me, well, I didn't buy anything from them. I just watched them on YouTube. Yeah, you watch their monetized content. Well, I just listened to their podcast. Yes, you're listening to their monetized podcast. This, after all, is a business. A lot of people, principally among them, perhaps Corey Good, would say that this is entertainment. David Wilcock is fond of that saying too. Oh, he makes art. No, he tells people that he has government insiders that turn out to be senile old men or other con artists, and pretends that he has secret insider government secrets about aliens and UFOs and alien crash retrievals. But it turns out that it's not about the crash retrievals, my friends. It is about the cache retrievals. And tonight I'll be trying to recover a bit of cash of my own. So you'll notice we have a very modest goal this evening. I am taking my own advice and trying to be humble when asking for support. So for those unaware, we are a viewer-supported show. And just so you're aware, also we read every single super chat, every PayPal pledge, every buy me a coffee, every gifted sub over there.
Oh yeah, speaking of which.
We thank anybody who gives memberships on YouTube, and we read every single super chat. And I notice there's already a kind and generous individual. Salty Pie is in the live chat.
I'll skip ahead the super chat readings.
God bless the goal. Well, that's one for the goal. So we thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And also, I have gotten better at this and realized come in after we have gone. Who says I got control being city and support. So this evening, boy, I have some incredible stuff to share with you, which proves that many of the people that are promoting all these UFO stories you may have heard about are lying, grifting scumbags. Yes, they're just lying, grifting scumbags.
Yes, they are.
Another one from Chad Wellington before we get started with our serious look into UFO cache retrievals.
Yep.
You know, whoa.
Okay, I'm gonna get through the cast, like the super chats real quick, get to the meat of it.
Whoa, what a heat banking grifter. This is right up my alley. So I asked for UFO crash retrievals for probably decades. I've got a ton of books on all these different so-called UFO crashes. And one thing I noticed is what you're getting is a story, sometimes a second-hand story, sometimes a third-hand story. And what we never really get is the physical proof or evidence, though they always tantalize us that they may have some proof of an alien crash retrieval. Lyndon Moulton Howe did this. Then she sold the trash to TTSA, and they pretended that they had alien crash retrieval pieces. Those pieces turned out to be pieces from a missile casing.
How about that?
A complete and total nothing burger. So what we get is the myth of UFO crash retrievals. And tonight we'll be doing a bit of a critical examination of some of the hoaxes, the lack of evidence, and of course the profit-driven motives. The idea, after all, friends, that extraterrestrial spacecraft have crashed on Earth and has been secretly retrieved by governments, has been a staple of UFO mythology and lore for decades.
Hold on, stop this for a second. First of all, real quick, he's on the good guy team, just so everybody knows. Secondly, yeah, he does appear on Kino Casino. I don't watch Kino Casino, I don't know them. But I know that they've had him on, and that the guy Phil he's talking about is somebody that he basically took to task because he was grifting. So like I said, he's a de-grifter. He goes after people that are running cons, running grifts, and so, but he also has a lot of wealth of knowledge and research, under his belt. That's what we're listening to tonight. So that's that. Yeah. So I mean, if you watch that channel, I have no idea who goes on that channel. I know that they've gone after Ricada and other people like that. It's just not my thing. But I know that he's made some appearances on there, and that's cool. And whatever. As creators, we got to do what we got to do. But they put Phil on his show, I guess, and he pretty much called this guy. I don't even know who the fuck Phil is, honestly. I just saw his take on it. And Phil is somebody who's been running a grift and e-begging, I guess, is what he calls it. So without really offering anything in return, that's kind of what e-begging is. Because I watch local content. Okay, yeah, I really don't, but the yeah, that's I only know it because he's talked about it. So, anyways, what we're focusing on tonight is the UFO crash retrieval history. As it goes with what we do here. So we're gonna get into that, and he has a great take on it. So check it out.
And despite the persistent claims made by self-styled whistleblowers or insiders, some would say sensationalist authors and conspiracy theorists, the evidence for such crash retrievals remains completely and totally absent. Instead, the historical record actually reveals a pattern of hoaxes, fabrications, exaggerations, over-sensationalized stories, and profit-driven storytelling that has perpetuated this myth without delivering verifiable proof to back it up. Claims of UFO crash retrievals suffer from a fundamental problem, and that is the absence of actual, tangible, scientifically testable evidence.
Yep.
If something crashes, friends, there's always going to be
never get it.
you could look at, but
you never get it.
We don't get that. And
Nope.
Proponents of these stories have yet to present physical debris that can pass actual scientific testing to confirm that it is indeed alien. They have yet to provide alien biological remains. Despite all the claims of biologics and alien bodies, they have yet to provide verifiable documentation that can withstand rigorous skeptical scrutiny. Instead, these narratives are typically based on unverified witness testimonies, on leaked documents of dubious origin,
dark, that's it.
Sometimes completely and totally fake top secret documents. And of course,
yep, that's it, Arby.
In other words,
got it.
Stories. And to me, one of the most glaring issues is the contradiction between extraordinary claims and a complete lack of forensic evidence. If UFO crashes were as frequent and significant as these people claim, there should be multiple instances of undeniable material evidence, such as pieces of metal, alloys, biological samples, or parts of a sophisticated propulsion system that can be verified by independent experts. Yet no such proof has emerged, despite decades of allegations. And it's important to note that there are colleges and universities all over the United States and the world, for that matter, that have the scientific testing devices available that can prove or disprove whether, for example, a piece of metal came from elements in our own solar system or elements from another solar system.
Yeah, he makes a good point. And so many people out there, and I'll show you some stuff later tonight. I went down and bookmarked a bunch of stuff on X that we'll do later in the show. But even like this one guy comes out and like it does automatically tell you that there's some alloy they can't identify. That's bullshit. Down in some cave you've never heard of, they found some alloy and some hieroglyphics that didn't make any sense and didn't correlate with modern day stuff. This whole like merger of the ancient ruins and aliens is just plain weird, and so many people have fallen for it. And again, I blame the grifters on ancient aliens for indoctrinating people, making them skip over logical thinking, right? To just come to a conclusion that, oh, this is an alien, look at this. They put we did a whole breakdown, 2 episodes of breakdown on the ancient aliens grift, right? It's 2 guys. It's the guy with the crazy hair and the old guy with the glasses. Those are the ancient alien guys. All right. Everything else, all the other people they bring on are just to make them look like they're credible. All right. And to go along with their grift. But these guys created it out of thin air. They came up with it. And then they got on the History Channel, which go ahead is another level of grifting going on, where you think you're watching history. The people tune in like, oh, I'm here for history, and then you get grifted by a bunch of UFO alien con artists, right? And then they got the disclosure people on there. You got all kinds of other people on there trying to confirm this bullshit, and then they go along believing it. Oh yeah, well, I would just believe it now. I saw it on the History Channel. Of course, it's real, you know. And so, the idea that they can find something, or that things are perfect, or they convince you that things couldn't have been built by man. Only UFOs could have built a giant rock pyramid, because that's what they would have done. They would have built a rock pyramid. They wouldn't have taught people how to create metal. They wouldn't have, the only way they could have done it is with 0-point energy. They wrapped coils, which they didn't have at the time, around some stone pillar, and suddenly they had electricity. Yeah, it all just disappeared. Same thing you're saying here with the UFO or crash retrieval stuff of the past, right? Those like some unknown metal that scientists could not define. When somebody says that, they're asking you to take it on faith. And how many times somebody asks you to take something on faith when they're trying to convey to you about a conspiracy or some secret, right? Is a red flag. Every time they ask you to take something on faith, it's a red flag. When they don't produce evidence or proof, it's a red flag. And that's the whole thing, is what you learn from doing this stuff is that these guys are putting up a red flag every minute or two. But most people ignore them because they have gone ahead and bought into the false premise that aliens have already been here.
It's a very easy test. I'm told it takes 15 minutes. However, I'm not a scientist, so I'm going based on what I've been told by multiple material scientists. You have a piece of metal, you think it's from another star system, you put it in the mass spectrometer, you get the isotopic ratios, you do an analysis, and you can quickly determine, did this come from our solar system, or did it come from a different solar system? Apparently, the isotopic ratios of each solar system is like a fingerprint. For example, silver from our solar system would have a certain isotopic ratio and look a certain way under testing. And the same alloy from another solar system would look slightly different. And any material scientist would know right away after testing, this did not originate, this piece of aluminum or metal did not originate in our solar system, but rather, Proxima Centauri or some other solar system. And let's talk about the historical hoaxes and fabricated accounts, because many of the most, I still hold on to Roswell. I can't let it go. I'm sorry. But many or most of the most famous UFO crash retrieval stories have already been debunked as outright hoaxes or exaggerated tales designed to generate publicity and money, financial gain. So there's some notable examples. The Aztec UFO hoax was a UFO crash in Aztec, Mexico, and it was popularized by Frank Scully's 1950 book. You might notice that name Scully. That's where X-Files got it from. His book, Behind the Flying Saucers. According to Scully, the U.S. government had secretly recovered multiple crashed flying saucers containing the bodies of small extraterrestrials. However, research later revealed that the story was based on fraudulent claims made by literal convicted con artists.
Hang on to that thought for 1 second. Cinegram, thank you for the $5 super chat. We'll call this guilt, as I can't listen. Darn it. I'm sorry you can't listen. But you're here in spirit, and that's what counts. And thank you so much for the support. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I very much appreciate it. And thank you for hanging out so much. All right. So back to it. So yeah, convicted con artists. Let's just back that up so we don't forget the premise here. All right.
The story was based on fraudulent claims made by literal convicted con artists who were attempting to sell fake alien technology to stupid investors. Investigations by journalists and the FBI more or less confirmed it was all a scam, and the Aztec crash was relegated to the realm of fiction. However, that hasn't stopped less than credible, less than scrupulous people from picking up the old hoax and trying to sell it again. Then, of course, there was the Kecksburg, Pennsylvania incident. So
yeah, so what he's saying right there is that, what we're hearing is that the original what's going on over there? All right, sorry, I'm getting a little bit of disturbance here. Am I all plugged in? Where am I at? Okay, this one usually works really good. A little interference. Let me know if I'm coming across all right. But hold on a second. All right. Evidently nothing's going on this end caused this disturbance. So, but it looks like it's really choppy. I don't know. Usually like when this happens, this little instability, I try to stop or hear froze for a minute, but good now. Okay. There's a disturbance in the force. And it really helps me keep my train of thought going too. It really does. So yeah, evidently the original story was concocted in order for some grifters to sell some fabricated weird looking stuff to people that are unsuspecting victims to make some money, right? So the whole idea of the crash retrieval, going back to Roswell at this point, is the idea that people make up stories to make money off of them, right? And to sell things that aren't really alien tech as alien tech.
Which I investigated thoroughly myself. Of course, there was the Kecksburg, Pennsylvania incident, an
all right.
incident which I investigated thoroughly myself. I even visited the so-called crash site. And the Kecksburg incident has often been called the Roswell of the East. And while some UFO enthusiasts and true believers claim that a mysterious acorn-shaped object was recovered by the military and it was of alien origin, credible investigations suggest that the object was likely a Soviet satellite, which was decaying and coming down from orbit. Most compelling evidence comes from NASA records and expert analyses, which indicate that what was recovered or what crashed was not an alien spacecraft. And despite the lack of proof on the Kecksburg incident, there is a festival every year about this incident, and the story continues to be promoted for entertainment and profit. And then, of course, there is the Varginha incident, often referred to as, I always call that the vagina case, Varginha, Brazil. This case is often referred to as Brazil's Roswell. The Varginha case involved claims that a UFO crashed and alien beings were captured by the Brazilian military. The sensationalized story grew through media hype and embellishment over time. However, investigations have failed to provide any solid evidence beyond hearsay and inconsistent eyewitness accounts,
Par for the
which keep
course.
changing with each new documentary film deal. Additionally, Brazilian military officials have repeatedly denied the existence of any alien crash or recovery operation. And despite the lack of proof, scumbags like James Fox, he sold that story 3 times, continue to promote this incident because it remains a profitable topic for books and documentaries and television shows. We
Which
can't
sucks,
talk about the UFO
because what sucks is because they don't put it out there as science fiction. They put it out there as conspiracy, you know, a UFO conspiracy, right? Like they put it out there like it definitely happened. They're covering it up, and these guys make bank on it. Like I said, if I was a soulless bastard, I'd be rich, right? Because I know all this stuff. I could just go ahead and I've done it like live stream of thought, you know, like I could totally just grift off a grifter and become a new grifter and grift the bullshit, right? It just ain't in me. And it ain't in people like Steven either. Like people like us just don't dig the scams, right? They don't think it's fair that people can make so much money out of abusing people, while truth seekers, truth tellers, de-grifters struggle to make the next paycheck. I mean, it's just like, what is going on in this world where people would rather, enable an abuser and fund an abuser than people trying to stop them? It just doesn't make any sense. Not that I don't think either of us are out for that, but it's like, the bottom line is to stop it. If there was none, that would be fine with myself. I'd be fine if there is no people grifting out there. And there's a lot of sci-fi stories. There's plenty of great sci-fi stories out there. Why not sell it as a sci-fi story? That's what they're about to do right now. South by Southwest, that woke ass and piece of shit movie festival, is getting ready to launch the UFO disclosure, something like that, documentary. And for some reason, Marco Rubio is in it. I don't know why, but it's about the age of disclosure or some shit like that. And they're going to make a bunch of money on that too. It's just crazy. I mean, do you guys want to be lied to? Is that how people are? You guys just want to be lied to. You want to be scammed. You want to be. Maybe maybe those Doge protesters are for real, man. Maybe they really do want to be scammed. Maybe they really do want to be abused. Is it that? Is it become masochistic society? Where people are like, just please abuse me. Don't stop being nice. Here, take my money to abuse me harder. You know, it's like, I don't get it. Maybe this is what the journey's about, trying to figure out why people are like this broken. I don't know. But anyways, let's get back to it.
Retrievals without talking about the profit motive behind these UFO crash retrieval stories. After all, the persistence of UFO crash retrieval myths can largely be attributed to financial incentives. Most of the individuals who claim insider knowledge about secret UFO programs have a direct financial stake in promoting these narratives.
Almost every time.
Books, paid speaking engagements, television specials, documentary film deals, live speaking engagements, and UFO conferences, YouTube channels, monetized podcasts, and even crowdfunding campaigns that provide significant revenue streams for those willing to fabricate or embellish such stories. For instance, alleged insiders like
Steven Greer, right? $6.6 million man. He didn't make that money with medical school debt, working in an emergency room for 10 years. He didn't make $6.6 million doing that. Doctors don't make that kind of money, you know, especially with doctors with medical school debt. So, I mean, I guess he had debt. I would think he would. Most people do. But at the same time, he didn't get all that money until he went into the grifter game. That's when he got all the money. Now he's like living higher in the hog, just completely abusing people with a smile on his face and confidence in his voice, and zebra alerts in his mind. It's like he has no soul and no conscience. And unfortunately, the reason why he has $6.6 million is because people fall for his bullshit, and they'd rather listen to someone piss in their ears all night long than have someone move their head so they don't get pissed in their ears. And
Grush and Philip Corso have presented dramatic claims with little to no supporting evidence while benefiting a great deal from media appearances, book sales, and paid lectures. Corso's the day after Roswell made sensational claims about recovered alien technology being reverse engineered. Yet no independent verification has substantiated his assertions. In fact, most of his claims can be proven completely and totally false just by studying a bit of technology history.
There you have that, right? So entered Dr. Steven Greer, right? Where does he get this idea from that there's some secret group out there reverse engineering alien technology, right? So, you know, one thing we've noticed about Steven Greer is he's a grift co-opter. He'll take what you got, and I think he just sets the standard for this, because I think that's what Jake Barber pretty much did to him with the psionics thing, right? The CE5 turned into psionics. We actually appeared at one of his little fabricated press conference deals, and he says, "Well, I got people," and the story from the guy in the jungle where he saw the hexagonal UFO moving boxes, those were actually people in there because they were trying to get them to do psionic studies on them. So he took it and he evolved it a little bit more. And so I guess if you really want to be good at this, what you do is you pay attention to the grifters, what they're doing. You find your place in there, right? And then you just elaborate and embellish one of the points into a new direction, which, you know, this seems to be part of. Even Steven Greer's got some crash retrieval stuff. He's backing Jake Barber, even though he's not invited to the parties. He's not invited to be part of the gang, I guess, because him and Ross don't get along, or maybe him and the Salt guy don't get along. I don't know. But there's something going on there where he's a periphery participant and only bridges the gap between Jake Barber's interaction with them and Danny Sheehan, who's represented both Lou Elizondo and Steven Greer for some reason. He's like the lawyer, the scummy lawyer to those grifters. And so he's on it. We're going to see him later in the show. He looks like the Quaker Oats guy. That's what he looks like. But yeah, we'll be going over that guy here later in the show. But yeah, there you go. So you just embellish it, right? So where did Steven Greer get all this stuff from? Well, he probably was like a lot of people was reading these crash retrieval books from way back when and started thinking, well, how can I do my thing, right? You know, he comes up with his abduction story, comes up with his mind control, gives himself a special niche, the messenger, the one who's supposed to bring disclosure. That's what his purpose is, gives himself a special purpose, right? And then he starts embellishing on these crash retrievals. right? And that's where they get the reversed in alien technology. And as Steven Cambian just pointed out right here, Steven Cambian, I'll refer to this Dr. Greer as Dr. Greer from here on out, so I won't confuse anybody. But as he just pointed out, here's the original source, and here's many of his claims are already completely debunked. What Greer comes along and does is he takes the claims that have been debunked, it seems like, and he makes them undebunkable, or at least like not undebunkable in a sense, but he makes them unprovable, right? So how are you going to prove there's a rogue corporate, a military group underground bases reverse engineering alien technology, right? How you gonna say, well, no, here's the proof that it's not that. That's not what it is. It just this. It's based on a false premise, so you're not going to find any proof for it. That's the idea. That's how fallacies work, and that's what these guys operate on. So, all right, so let me back it up just a second, and we'll get going back on this.
Can be proven completely and totally false just by studying a bit of technology history. Similarly, David Grush's vague allegations about recovered non-human craft and alien biologics have led to high-profile interviews. And in fact, the David Grush story has created millions of dollars in profit for those who promoted it. And someday I'm going to finish this spreadsheet which proves it. Even mainstream outlets and streaming services lately are contributing to the perpetuation of these myths by producing and promoting UFO-related content that prioritizes sensationalism over critical investigation. Networks such as the History Channel and Netflix have
X, man. I'll show you this later on. These conspiracy grifters on X get the mass reach. In fact, one of the de-grifters out there, I can't remember who it is right now, but I'll show you the post later on, was talking about how his view rate went down when he started kind of going after this one grifter. Real quick, let's see. Does winning look like Theo Von to anyone else? Well, Zach, I've actually partied with Theo Von. How about that? You like that? How would you like to see a picture of us together? I actually partied with him at a Widespread Panic concert. It was kind of crazy. Turned around and they were right there. Hey, we all recognized him, I guess, and somebody recognized him and pointed him out to the rest of us. And we ended up hanging out and having a good time. It was his first show. We had a good time. We had a good time, all of us hanging out. I hung out with some celebrities here and there. Theo was one of them. Funny you brought that up. But thank you for that. No way. Yeah. It's the truth. It's the truth. It is the truth. I'm pretty sure that picture, wherever it is long gone by now because it belonged to my, I think my ex from way back, not the one with the baby, one before that. And she actually, unfortunately, awesome person, unfortunately passed away from leukemia a while back. So probably all those memories, or I wasn't around when it happened, so all those memories probably got put, somewhere. I don't know where they are. Somewhere there's a picture of that going down. Anyways, yeah, he's a lot of fun. I hung out with Carrot Head too, or Carrot Top. I kept calling him Carrot Head, and I was hanging out with him. He's funny. He's hilarious. Never stops cracking jokes, guy. But Theo is more like, he was the noob at the show, and we were like the vets. So it was more about us just kind of hanging out and dancing and tell him about the songs, tell him about this and that. And he was very interested. He's really cool to hang out with. A lot of fun. Anyways, that's my Theo Von story. Onward and upward. Okay, let me back this up for a second.
Over critical investigation. Networks such as the History Channel and Netflix have profited immensely from UFO stories and the entire UFO craze and the public's fascination with it.
Mm-hmm.
Often they give platforms to dubious figures without applying journalistic rigor. In other words, vetting them.
They don't give a shit, right?
In conclusion,
they don't care.
The UFO crash retrieval narrative is a profitable industry built on speculation, hoaxes, embellishments, exaggerations, and unverified claims. Despite decades of allegations, not a single piece of undeniable.
But it produces mind control victims on the daily. People that are bought into the grift, that are, are controlled by this false belief system, acting out on it, speaking out on it, becoming it, discrediting themselves with it. That's what it's about. All right. We got like that. And there's this is the I call this the Zach level. There you go. Thank you for the super chat. $2 super chat. Theo Bond story tip. Thank you for that tip. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. All right. I hope you enjoy the story.
Physical evidence has yet been produced to support the idea that extraterrestrial spacecraft have somehow crash landed on Earth and then been secretly recovered by the government.
Right? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying the entire time. Everything's built on a false premise, and the UFO, alien, UAP, NHI, those are the new terms. Rabbit hole grift. I mean, it's like it's grift closure, man. It's what it is. It's all grift closure.
Persistence of these stories is not due to their factual basis, but rather to the entertainment value and their financial profitability. We
just make some shit up. You get rich, right? That's what I'm saying. I think I'm messed up, man. I should have just gone into the other realm, and nobody would care because nobody cares about these guys are doing it. They don't care that they're being taken advantage of. They don't care that they're being abused. They don't care that they're being ripped off. Right? I should have come out and been like, man, I'm way into the alien. It's all real. I'll just play you shit over and over again and tell you that it's real, and then I'll come up with some abduction story. That was the chosen one by the aliens. And, my job is to prepare people for disclosure so that when, Stephen Greer passes away, I'm supposed to take a spot because I'm really good at CE5 and psionics. And I have this new evolution. Remember my CE6 evolution, where it's a combination of the two. And it's bringing the aliens to social media so that can be your friends and you can DM them and stuff. And really what I'd have is just an AI running in the background, but I won't tell you that. But you can pay for that, and you can pay me a lot of money for that, and I'll live high on the hog. I'll be on a beach somewhere with Chili bringing me drinks. And it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So there you go.
You need to have skepticism when evaluating these UFO crash retrieval claims. The pattern of hoaxes, exaggerations, and profit-driven motives should serve as a warning sign or a red flag before we accept extraordinary claims without extraordinary evidence. So we'll take a moment and check in with the live chat. I see it flying by furiously here. Rustin Rourke with another one for the goal. It's a work the casino boys. It's the work the casino boys love. And by the way, just tell me for the goal. Rock on, Stephen. Yes. And Old Nosy with 5. Steve needs to not be held. Railroad bum. Leonard Stringfield, Bob Ryan Wood, Clifford Stone. 0 receipts. All BS stories. No real names. Fairy tale. Good job, Stephen. Yes. And I should have, in my opening article there, mentioned Leonard Stringfield because he's the one who largely popularized the idea of UFO crash retrievals. Unfortunately, every single source in his book was anonymous. Hundreds of anonymous sources talking about alien crash retrievals. But thank you, Railroad Bum. Important to point out Leonard Stringfield. He certainly has a place in history. But if all of his sources are anonymous...
he actually has a lot of people that come into his streams that be... So maybe some of them will find their way here someday. You can hang out with them too. It seems like there's a lot of people that are into the de-grifting stuff, and that's awesome. There needs to be a lot more people into it. Maybe there is. I just don't reach them yet. So you never know.
Big into those. Flint Westwood, love eating Arby's while watching this. My wife wants to order food. Rushing and racing from the consider.
He's like me. Thompson doesn't super chat, so we gotta get through him. Let's go back to him.
Stories. People with the so-called. It's good to me. Yeah, I could use a hover car. Thank you, Quiverlock. And last night on NBC Nightly News,
everybody needs a hover car.
Somebody's already beating Idiot Wilcock to the punch.
Right? Yep, I covered that on Cool Things last week.
Bigger donut? No, I'm just kidding because old dumb side Phil today. Somebody gave $3 and he said, no, you gotta donate $4 here. We're already and that's one for the goal. And we'll
all right, here we go.
In here.
I said I'm gonna have to speed up some of it.
More than halfway to the goal.
Sorry for that.
Mr. Burnell, this is how you do it. You just
hey, Roscoe, what's up?
And then you give people good, entertaining content, and they just throw money at you. You don't have to beg every 2 minutes. By the way, he's back to begging every 2 minutes now. What about every 2 minutes? But boy, is he back! I've been listening to this. Oh, let me look it up, or I'm gonna get the name wrong.
Yeah. How do you like this one, right? How do you like the guy one? Well, if you don't, let me know afterwards.
Thank you for your super chat. Thank you for your super chat.
All right, Heidi, thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. You want a cats? Okay, we'll get you cats. Hold on. I'll get you cats. I need to get more cats, but here you go. I'm borrowing that one right now. I got to stop playing those two so Shelly can have them. All hers, right? You know, because a lot of you guys come to both of our channels. I don't want you to get tired of the clips. So I got to go find my own cat. I just took the ones I made for her and I just redid the coloring on the letters. But anyways, thank you for that. Thank you. And you got, now I know what you want. Now I know what you want. All right. So I'll make sure I get some new ones very shortly to match up. It's hard to do the it's hard to do the escalating way I do it with the beat scene. What's it called? The beat scene for the fellers or whoever else likes those beat scenes. Because the higher it goes, the more it collects, the better the beat scene gets. You know, got to know your audience. There's half my audience at least loves that. Another half, everybody else loves cats. So for now, that'll be what it is, eh? All right. Oh, no worries. It's you and everybody else. So, okay, here we go.
I'm gonna get the name of her channel wrong.
I want to go back into the history here.
Find it. Let me that lady's voice right here all day. So she was covering his stream today and just felting all over him because he was begging like a crackhead again.
Oh, this is talking about Phil again. That's kind of like an ongoing thing with this channel right now. So, or it was at least a couple days ago. Maybe last week, maybe.
Riverlock, let's go, Steve. And analyzing stories.
Okay, here we
Because,
go.
you know, I, for one, would love to believe that aliens crash landed on Earth.
Listen to this part.
It would make,
really good.
It would make life so much more interesting if we could just.
Did that sound like something I've been saying the whole time? I like this is why I like when I found Steve's channel. I was like, man, this guy and I are pretty much see things the same way, and we have a lot of the same takes. Like I've been saying that too. I was like, yeah, I'd love all that. I'd love to have all that Star Trek stuff. I want my Jetsons future, you know. I'd love to have all that be real, but but it's not, and that's the whole thing. That's the sad part about it. But people are they're on their wants and their wishes and their fantasies are being taken advantage of by bad people who then go off to live high on the hog, right? And they get to live with a trouble-free life while people struggling are dishing time and money to them. And they could care less whether those people are duped and marked and whether they live or die. Honestly, they could care less about their credibility. They care less about their integrity or them living in the truth, right? Because that's what these people do. And I can't, for the life of me. And I know there's a lot of people out there. There's probably more people out there that are okay doing that than not, and okay accepting it than not. And hell, I'm sure I know plenty, right, that are just all about that, and that's the thing, right? But I just can't. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine living day and the reason why I think I can't imagine it, I just don't think it would work for me. Like I think I would try to do it and then get busted, and then get someone like me would come along and de-grift myself, and then I would be completely embarrassed over it. I guess it's like these people just don't have consciences. They don't get embarrassed. They don't feel any kind of moral aptitude or whatever that word would be that you would put there. They don't have any integrity. They don't have a soul. I don't know what it is because I can't imagine it because I'm not that way. But there is a lot of it out there, and you watch people like Greer and Barber and all these other people get up there and just lie. They'll go to Congress and lie. They'll sit up and they'll take people's money, knowing full well that they're getting it from a false thing they've made up in their own head, right? That are completely lying to everybody. They'll get on live streams and lie for hours. They'll go on other people's shows. So somehow these people get on the biggest podcast out there. They get on Joe Rogan. They get on Patrick Bet Davis. They get on like all these channels. They're making all this money. And these people, and you know what? I got to call out people like Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet Davis for enabling this stuff. Like it starts with people not platforming these people and giving them a place to run their grift. It's removing the enablement, and people that are doing it, that are enabling them, they're part of the problem. Enablers are always part of the problem. And so, you know, it's one of those things, man. If you give a shit about people, you won't platform these grifters. Anyways, let's get back to it. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. I'll grift. Donations are appreciated, but not required. Thank you so much. Are you grifting? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bill has always been begging for money, won't ever stop. You know, and that's just like that. You know, it's just like that. It's just like that, man. They won't stop. And it's yeah, and Joe, yeah, that's the way. Joe can't tell who a grifter is. It's like, but come on, dude. You gotta have, with great power comes great responsibility. You know, this the old adage that proves true time and time again. And it doesn't become an excuse anymore when just because you're too high or you're too popular to know who a grifter is and who isn't. Do your fucking research, man. That's how you learn. You know, have some people on that counter the narratives. You know, have some people on like that aren't well known that can come in there and run circles around these well known grifters. You got nothing. You know, let them have it out. That's good. That's good content. These people won't come. They won't come in the arena with other people that know how to take them down, that know all their tricks, that know every bit of their story inside and out. They wouldn't last 5 minutes. You know, these guys wouldn't last 5 minutes with Steven. They wouldn't last 5 minutes with me. You know, because we know what the premise is behind that they're working off of. And we know that, you know, they're going to come up with this shit and we're going to be like, well, you know, you're still starting from a premise. Where's the proof that aliens have ever visited Earth? What are you going to go back to ancient aliens and tell me that's how where your evidence comes from? Are you going to tell me that, you know, your weird video is proof? You don't know what that is. You don't know what that is. You don't even know if it's real or not. But anyways, let's move on. You referring to the West Huff takedown? I don't know. Who's that? Joe thought Terrence Howard was so smart and interesting. Well, I know, yeah. And there's this other guy he has on there too. And it's like, man, how do you get this gig? You got to be a con artist to get on the biggest podcast out there or something, man. I mean, Joe does good work. I'm not dogging out Joe completely, but he puts a lot of grifters on. He puts a lot of grifters on. And I don't know if he appreciates, well, people don't have to watch. Dude, you're hyped. You're beyond that. You're beyond it. You're soaking in the millions, dude. Soaking it in. Just you got so many millions, you don't care how many millions you got. That's how many millions. You know, when you have that much, you're getting that much from people. If you're getting it in a bad way, if you're getting it from deceiving people, that counts against you. That's all I gotta say. You might want to consider it.
Just know, like, hey, somewhere in time, we were visited by intelligent beings from other star systems. And, you know, that would make life much more interesting. Maybe I don't anymore since I have a wife and a family, but there was a time when I was kind of the black sheep of my family. I was living by myself and I felt, I guess, lonely, right? And that's when I really got into these alien crash stories. And I think that speaks to the psychology of it, because the people selling the stories know there's lonely people who feel alone, right? And maybe if you could just know that there's other beings in the
universe, work, MJ?
Feel so alone in the world. At least that's the way it worked for me.
So he's got a good, he's based, he's humble, he's talking about him, you know, his story. And I relate to like what he's talking about. There's a lot of people out there that need it to be real. They feel alone. They feel like there's some people too. Have you ever met the people who think that they're not from here? Like I've known a few. Oh, I'm not from this. I'm not meant to be here. This isn't a place, because they just can't deal with the world, right? They can't deal with their condition in the world. And they start to get this idea that they're not from it. They couldn't possibly be from here. That kind of gets people into the alien rabbit hole grift as well. You know, and they, like you're saying right here, they can feel, you know, alone, right? And so they start to gravitate towards something that makes them feel special or more like themselves, or more like, you know, oh, maybe I'm an indigo kid. That explains everything, you know? And then you find the indigo kid rabbit hole, and pretty soon you're in the Galactic Federation of Light, right? It's just one step to the next, and you're bathing in the Gaia network. And that's it, right? But that's where it starts. It's like, oh, I don't feel like I fit in here. This world is so cool. And what's really driving that thought, that belief system in them, right? Is it that they've had a rough upbringing, a rough conditioning, or is it they're watching the mainstream media tell them how horrible the world is and how there's all this evil out there to come and get them, right? And that it's, you know, it's actually the people that are trying to stop the evil that are doing it. It's just, you know, what do they think? Oh my God, they're coming after these poor people, and no, and they won't get these poor people into our country. And you know, they're getting the fear porn and the trauma porn from the mainstream, the establishment, corrupt establishment media, right? And so then they start their self-worth, their self-value, and their own self-image starts to become demoralized, right? The subversion demoralizes them, and then they go looking for answers. And then there's the indigo children. There it is. Explains everything. You're not really from here. You're a star seed. So now you need to be an energy and light worker, right? Now you're down that rabbit hole, and by golly, you just got to do this, and now you got to become a real weirdo, right? And start talking to people in weird ways, and that way the aliens will like you. And when they come here, you'll be elevated to the fourth and fifth and sixth dimension, or wherever the fuck they're taking you this time, right? That's the whole thing. So they play on people and their conditions. The grifters, like I said, the establishment never lets a crisis go to waste, but neither do conspiracy grifters. And a crisis could be a personal crisis or a national crisis, right? They never let any kind of crisis go to waste. They'll play on you, and they'll use you, and they'll turn you into a useful idiot mind control victim at any turn. And like I said, the conspiracy grifters are no different than the establishment subverters out there. They just play a different game. The end goal is the same: to abuse the people that they target. Prosperity teacher. Yeah, you know, God told me I needed $5 million right now. So guys, you know, it's important. Keeps it in the thousands, and right, it works really good. See, it doesn't work for me. A lot of times people paying for the jet or whatever can't afford to pay their own electric. Yeah, they can't. That's horrifying. And that's a religious grift, right? Again, they're playing on people's you know, their loneliness, their want to go to heaven when they die. You know, and other means of subversion, right? It's not cool. It's not cool to abuse people in these ways. And that's part of the problem in our society right now.
And these alien crash retrieval stories, they absolutely 100% cards on the table became a source of comfort for me. I don't know why. I guess I was lonely. I was living by myself. I felt invisible in the world. I felt very alone at that point. It also happened to be that I was in between bands, and I had, you know, like a band that was doing great, and then all of a sudden that went away. And so all the spotlight went away, all the excitement went away. I guess maybe I was depressed. But anyway, I started getting deep into these.
I wonder what band it was in.
Stories. I bought all the books, the documentaries. I watched everything, read everything.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was a band I knew? Those are ex-musicians going on in YouTube, man. What is it with us? I can definitely relate to the ups and downs of the music world.
And it did somehow make me feel better. And I remember the Aurora, Texas crash, particularly. And let's talk about the Aurora, Texas crash, because you want to talk about tantalizing. The most tantalizing case of UFO crash retrievals to me is not Roswell. The most tantalizing case to me is the Aurora, Texas UFO crash.
We're out of time. 1 hour.
And the reason that story is so tantalizing to me is because if the story is true, there may be proof, 100% proof of alien crash retrievals and alien visitation on Earth. If the story is true, there may be proof.
I like the way he sets this up.
As that legend goes, I believe it was in 1898 originally. 1897. In 1897, a craft of unknown origin basically hit a windmill and came down and crashed. And the townspeople went out to investigate, and apparently what they found was a little spaceman. And he was described very much like your typical gray, you know, 3 feet tall, large head, no hair, at least as best I recall. I believe that's accurate. And so the townspeople, being Christian, were very concerned with giving the spaceman
the story
Christian burial. And they took, as the legend goes, they took the body of this spaceman who died in the crash, unfortunately. They took the little body to the local cemetery, and they gave him a Christian burial. And then there was a gravestone at one point, a marker, which marked where they buried the gravestone and where they buried the little alien. And there he laid and has laid since then. But the story gets a little more complicated depending on who you listen to. So it becomes sort of a pilgrimage site, and people have gone to the site, leaving flowers and, you know, things for this little spaceman. But the story gets a little convoluted. By some accounts, the government came when the story was rediscovered in more modern times and dug up the body and moved it so nobody could find it.
Yeah,
They
that's a
took it to
grift.
one of those Area 51 or Hangar 18, one of those top
Deep underground military. It's a skiff, and you know, where they work on it with psionics and stuff.
secret sites, right? And but I believe the History Channel, a show called UFO Hunters, did a LiDAR, and they found something. And one of the people who knew where the gravesite was supposed to be was in on that. Oh, and by the way, somebody removed the marker. The marker that was once there was stolen out of the graveyard. So then Jim Mars and some people from the History Channel went there, and they did LiDAR right in that area, and there's something buried there. Now, I mentioned that the story was tantalizing.
Something buried there.
This story's so tantalizing, it makes me want to hop in my car with a shovel and a pickaxe and go down there to Aurora, Texas.
Yeah, well, he's going to conclude this here in a second, but we go ahead and do this. Let's see. Where are you? Let me just double check something real quick. 7. Okay. All right. Zach, thanks for the $5 super chat. When you get a chance, check out the Wes Huff Billy Carson debate. Most respectful but brutal takedown of any UFO charlatan I've ever seen. Thank you for that. I will definitely check that out. I will definitely do that. And Arby, thank you for the super chat. Arby, thank you, man. Take care. Have a good night. Thanks for being here. All right, let's get back to this.
Because the absolute 100% smoking gun evidence or proof that aliens have visited Earth may be buried in this little rinky-dink town local graveyard. But here's the problem. The people who are in charge of the graveyard, absolutely 100%, it's the Aurora Cemetery, they absolutely 100% will not give anybody permission to dig. And as I'm told, even an archaeologist tried to apply to do like a very serious excavation of that site and see if there is indeed a little alien body buried there. They absolutely, positively, 100% won't give anybody proof. I believe they've even been offered a great sum of money to dig at the so-called burial site. They will not allow it. And of course, there's a plaque that commemorates the story of the little alien being buried and the legend of the little alien being buried there. Now, some say that the people in charge of the town won't let anybody dig because there's nothing buried in this crash site. Or
That's what I
there's
think.
nothing buried in the actual burial site. It's just nothing. And if they were to allow somebody to dig in that area and find nothing, it would kill the legend for the town. And the town has profited a great deal in tourism and events and things like that.
That's most likely what's going on, in my
legend
opinion.
of this. Yeah, and see here, Texas Roswell. I will share this with you, but the History Channel is terrible with copyright claims. And so here's a depiction of the Aurora UFO crash. It's crashed into a windmill. And there's some other weird stories about this, like some of the crash debris ended up down somebody's well and it disfigured them from drinking out of the well. Maybe there was
this like
bits in the crash debris. And I don't know why somebody would throw it down a well you're drinking water from if you think it's alien, but this is what happened.
Right.
Pentaxenstein with another kind 5 says it ain't. I'm not sure what that's in reference to.
It ain't.
Not following. You'll have to send more super chats and help me figure out what the hell you're saying. Aurora's spaceman myth must live on for the small town. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why many people say that this situation is the way that it is. They won't let anybody dig because then that would ruin, it would ruin the legend for the town. And they do not want.
But let's break it down real quick. Alien crashes. They decide to give it a Christian burial. Right. That's more important than anything else. That's the premise it's built on. Think about that real quick. Does it sound believable? Barely, right? Hey, Jacob Castro, what's up? Barely enough to pass by. But then you got this grave, and that becomes a profitable thing. So, and then you're not gonna let anybody. And then what? Some UFO grifter comes by and says, "Well, there's definitely something down there." And there's your grift on grift hot, grip on grift action, where a grifter takes a grift and revitalizes it with its own variation of the grift, aka our VAV, Jake Barber taking CE5 and turning it into psionics, right in front of Stephen Greer's eyes. He probably thought he was impressing him. Maybe he did. Oh yeah, and then well, I'll come out and say that I don't approve of psionics because we're supposed to be ambassadors. Welcome them then at $3,500 a pop. Yeah. So yeah.
To ruin the legend for the town. Now let's get over to. Oh, 1 second.
If I remember right.
Okay, so recently, a bunch of people have testified before Congress, and some of those people have claimed either to Congress or in their various books and things that aliens have crash landed on Earth. And in one case, it's Elizondo, Luis Elizondo, to be clear, and he claims that Roswell was aliens, and he knows that because Hal Puthoff told him that. That's the truth. But recently, a great researcher named D. Dean Johnson, he was able to dig up some documents that I don't think that the UFO grifters wanted anybody to see. Essentially what happened, the quick version of the story of what happened, is that these clowns like Lou Elizondo and Tim Gallaudet and David Grush stood up in front of Congress and said, yep, it's definitely true. Aliens crash landed on Earth, or aliens visited Earth, and UFOs are alien flying machines,
right?
Other star systems.
And what gets me is when they say that they are they're man-made, but they're made so good people can't tell the difference between them and the alien crafts. Nobody's ever seen an alien craft. How are you supposed to tell the difference between them if you've never seen one? Nobody knows what an alien craft looks like. They've never been here. So how are you supposed to tell the difference? That's the whole thing. Again, you jump the shark. You automatically put the premise out there that aliens have already visited here when there's absolutely no proof of that. So that's the way they get you. That's a Stephen Greer trick. Tried and true.
I know for 100% sure and all this. And so some of the members of Congress pressed them in written up follow-up questions. Dean Johnson, let me share my screen. And I just want to give a shout out to Dean Johnson. He's one of those unsung heroes. The guy does some of the best work possible. And yeah, so, oh, where did it go? Oh,
bright light, dark mode,
okay.
Man, dark mode.
So subcommittees of the Oversight Committee, House of Representatives, held a hearing titled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomenon, Exposing the Truth. The 4 witnesses later submitted written answers that I've obtained. In addition, the committee has published its official transcript of the November 13th, 2024 UAP hearing in PDF format. It may be viewed or downloaded at the link below. This material is not in the transcript. On December 9th, the co-chairs of the hearing, Nancy Mace and Glenn Goffman, sent each witness follow-up questions called Questions for the Record, or QFRs, on behalf of Rep. Eric Burleson. So D. Dean Johnson got those written records, and he says, I'm posting links to PDFs or QFRs of the witnesses' responses. I am facilitating dissemination of these documents as a resource for researchers, journalists, and interested members of the public. This does not imply any portion or at all of the witnesses' statements. Yeah. So he gives these PDFs, and of course, this is very interesting. So I'm going to share this other tab. Let's make sure we got that. Yes.
Yeah, the waste of time.
So
man.
This is to Luis Elizondo, who is a UFO promoting, grifting scumbag who lied about working as the director of a Pentagon UFO program. He never did. His own personnel records confirmed that he had no assigned responsibilities around UFOs while he worked for the Pentagon. He was a pencil-pushing desk jockey.
I'm an intelligence
decided
guy.
it would be a great idea to LARP as a UFO investigator as a hobby while he worked for the Pentagon. He's the guy that I call the director of a Pentagon UFO program.
Kind of like a Stephen Greer's hobby as a medical room doctor, as an emergency room doctor. He tried to do a new age culty alien communication grift. He decided to start doing that as a hobby. And turned into a $6.6 million profit.
So they say, here's some post-hearing questions that have been directed to your attention and submitted for the official record. Please return your written response by December 23rd, 2024.
It's Nancy
Okay,
Mace.
so here's the questions. Does any branch of the United States government or defense contractors, aerospace or otherwise, possess technology derived from a non-human source? Does any branch of the United States military or defense contractor, aerospace or otherwise, employ exotic materials of non-human or non-terrestrial origin in any application, including aircraft and watercraft? Has the United States government or defense contractors made new breakthroughs in physics that are currently undisclosed to the general public, including at the university level? 4, are you aware of any evidence or indication that the United States military or defense contractors have recovered craft of non-human origin? If yes, were the non-human entities associated with this craft? If yes, were the non-human entities recovered alive? 5, is it possible that UAPs are extra-dimensional rather than extraterrestrial? 6, are you aware of the recent claim made by journalist Christopher Sharp regarding Bigelow Aerospace, Lockheed Martin, and the CIA teases the fact that Christopher Sharp is taken seriously by members of Congress? Those members of Congress should immediately resign for being, I was going to use the R word, can't use that word, for being mentally deficient and stupid as rocks. If you're believing anything Christopher Sharp, he runs the UFO rag that he pretends is a newspaper. It's a blog. All right, number 7, can you confirm or deny the attempt to transfer non-human technology to Bigelow Aerospace or Lockheed Martin during your time at ATIP, an organization that doesn't exist? How was it determined that Lockheed Martin had such non-human technology to begin with? 9, were you aware of the efforts by the CIA to block the transfer of UAP-related materials? 10, do you believe that the CIA or other government agencies are actively working to conceal UAP-related information?
These are leading questions.
11, was any of...
Hold on, I clicked the wrong screen. These are leading questions. They make assumptions that this stuff's true. Isn't it? That's the way I'm reading these questions that they're being asked here. Are you aware the CIA tried to block this? That's assuming the CIA tried to block something.
Or all the 22 million said to have gone to the OSAP program earmarked for this alleged transfer of non-human technology from Lockheed Martin to Bigelow Aerospace. So,
who writes these?
And here is Luis Elizondo. Does any branch of the United States government or defense contractors possess technology derived from a non-human source? His response is yes. I served as a senior ranking person of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program within the Department of Defense. No, he didn't. He didn't. So he's lying to members of Congress in a sworn statement. ATIP investigated.
They have no fear. They have no fear to lie to Congress. I mean, what the? That's a bad. We're in a bad place when that's the truth, man. They'll come out there and they're like, "Yeah, I'll lie right here in front of everybody. Don't just do it. Nothing will happen to you, right?"
Unidentified anomalous
I
phenomena.
can't prove anything.
Engaged senior executives, DoD, defense, aerospace industries who claim they possess recovered exotic material not made by U.S. or foreign source. Because these executives indicated that they could no longer gain additional insight from such material,
like a
they
Brazilian
initially
wax.
agreed to allow ATIP OSAP to take custody of the material. So here he's claiming that they were going to take custody of the material. Confirmation of this may be referred from an official DoD Office of Pre-Publication, his DOPSR. The document authorized the release of a statement by Dr. James Lukatsky, former director of Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Application Program, or OSAP. The statement marked cleared for publication reads in part, the $22 million allocated for DIA OSAP after speaking to multiple individuals of the program was originally intended to skiff out Bigelow Aerospace facilities. So they're going to build a skiff with it. But here, the statement, he says, the statement addressed the crash retrieval of UFO material recovered during the 1950s and other historical operations. Yeah. And that material turned out to be a missile casing. Yeah. Elizondo goes on to say, it was also informed that immediately following the terrorist attacks on 9/11, the U.S. government significantly reduced its UAP legacy efforts. So he gives them a non-answer. And he has no firsthand knowledge of the government being, remember the question, does any branch of the United States government or defense contractors possess technology derived from a non-human source? In his book, he says that the government has the Roswell wreckage and alien technology. But in a sworn statement, he doesn't mention any of that. And essentially admits he has no first.
And dude, that's a true sign of the grift, man. Like just like Greer, these guys never answer a direct question. I was like, yes, here it is, and I'll give you the information on how to get it. Right? That's what people want, and that's what people will never get because they're not being honest with you. They're grifting you, right? They're gonna keep dangling that carrot and then pretend like they're so dumb or so important or so like overwhelmed that they can't even answer a goddamn straight question, right? Just answer the question directly, okay? And stop going off on your damn stories about bullshit and try to think that I'm so dumb I'm going to forget what I asked you. That's the thing. Start calling them out. No, back to the question. We saw Greer's a master of doing this. He constantly will take a okay, so are these drones gonna are they gonna stop? Are they come out? He doesn't know the answer to it. oh, well, this is a very dangerous work. I've had 3 people, in my group killed, and so I'm constantly under watch, and I don't know about this and that. He'd go off and tell a story about a bunch of bullshit, and never ever answer the question. And that's what Elizondo is doing right here.
Firsthand knowledge of any of this stuff. Number 2, does any branch of the United States military or defense contractors employ exotic materials of non-human or non-terrestrial origin in any application, including aircraft? He says yes. The U.S. government or a defense contractor has in its possession exotic materials of non-human origin. Where's any evidence? Where's his evidence of that? Yeah, they definitely got the alien technology.
Yes.
Is he talking about the shit that he was scamming people with TTSA? While he was at TTSA, by the way, they scammed the public out of millions of dollars pretending that they had alien spaceship parts and claiming they were going to build a spaceship with a revolutionary power source that would change the world. What happened to the millions of dollars? You had a piece that you claimed was non-human. Do you know how easy it would be to prove that? He never proved that because he's
Fisher
a scumbag and a liar and a grifter. And he's guilty. Guilty, I say.
Guilty.
But it's
but and like, just let me add to that. How easy would it be just to show us the fucking thing, man? Just to show it. Show it. Oh, you're not ready to show it. It may cause an international panic of unheard of, scale, and the whole world would blow up, and everything will bad will happen if we show you this one little piece of alien tech. What'll happen is people will see your little gimmick, right? And they'll figure out what you're doing, and they'll call you out on it, and the grift will be over. Well, at least for that day, right? Because evidently you can de-grift these guys a million times. They keep coming back. They're like fucking herpes. But anyways, so why? Yes, they do. Okay, well, where's it at? Tell us where it is. Tell us where it is. We'll get it right now. We'll send in the whole daggone gang. We'll get it. And sure enough, nothing but a yes, right? At least he answered it directly, but will he give any evidence? No.
Isn't it nice? Congress people are saying, does any branch of the United States military have exotic materials from non-human or non-terrestrial origin that they're using? And he just says, yeah. Where's the evidence? Where's the proof? Lou Elizondo has as much proof when he says yes to this that I do that I'm Jesus Christ. But by the way, praise the cash, praise the cash. Salvation is here. We'll get back to reading the super chat soon. That's the question. Has the United States government or defense contractors made new breakthroughs in physics that are currently undisclosed to the general public? His answer is just yes. Great. Show us the breakthroughs. Show us the breakthroughs, Lou Elizondo. You're just going to say yes?
Yes.
4, are you aware of any evidence or indication that the United States military or defense contractors have recovered craft of unknown origin? Yes, I am aware of several incidents where the U.S. military and certain defense contract companies recovered craft or vehicles of non-human origin.
Okay, so yeah, I'm aware of it. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm aware of it, right? But I could also have been misled. So don't add that part. So you say, oh, are you aware of it? Right? Yeah, I've heard things. People told me stuff. I've heard things. Did you actually see it? Were you actually there when it happened? Well, no. Okay. Well, they don't do that kind of follow-up, right? Which makes me wonder sometimes with these questions, either are the politicians that incompetent, or are they in on it? If they're in on it, we got a big problem. Stop this shit. And like I said, I think, well, if they're in on it, that means there's a money trail somewhere. Somewhere they're benefiting from being in on it, otherwise they wouldn't be part of it. And how do these guys even get a seat at the table? How do they get a seat at the table? There are bigger things. There are bigger issues in the world. There's bigger initiatives in the world that need to happen. Like, for instance, the generational counteracting generational subversion, right? How are we going to build a generation after generation after generation of kids that are resistant to grifts and subversion, right? That's, there's people out there that are working on this problem, right? That will maybe want to have a say. Maybe want to talk about putting the trivium back in schools early on, developing programs that defend against narcissism, defend against people abusing other people, right? And that would be a good way to counteract Marxist subversion, grifter subversion, whatever. It's all abuse, right? And to get this world back on a good foot, right? Where we don't have people that are willing to just abuse me here. I'll send you money. You know, if anybody wants to abuse them, they can send me money and just ask, and I'll abuse them if they want. I mean, I'm not very good at it, but I'll try. But yeah. So here we go. There's more of the same here. They don't ask good follow-up questions. They don't ask good questions, and they ask leading questions. So this whole thing is kind of fishy.
In some cases, biological specimens were recovered from the crashes. Well, that's a great statement. B, I am unaware, however, if these specimens were alive at the time of the recovery. Furthermore, I am unaware if these biological specimens were complete specimens or partial due to the nature of the crashes.
What are you talking about? Did you not see them? Did you actually lay your eyes on these specimens?
Several key scientists associated with both OSAP and ATIP were part of a conversation sponsored by the White House in approximately 2004 to determine if the U.S. public was prepared for the acknowledgement of UAP by the U.S. government.
This whole thing where people are too stupid to know the truth. You know, are you ready? Are you ready to know the truth? Are you sure? We don't think so. We know what's best for you. So we'll decide that you're not ready for it yet. And these people keep buying into that bullshit.
Government. After approximately 1 week of deliberations,
wouldn't do
the
that.
decision was made that the U.S. government should not disclose. And again,
Sure,
this is
it
a
was.
story. Where is the evidence of non-human biological entities?
No
He has
evidence.
none. So what we're seeing is that despite all of his pontifications and speculations and promotion of all of this stuff, Lou Elizondo has no evidence of anything. He has stories, unverified, unproven, undocumented stories. And what scientist is he talking about here? Is he talking about wackadoo Eric Davis, who the Air Force called his research crackpot research? Or is he talking about Hal Puthoff, a guy who was a high-ranking Scientologist? That's right. He believes in Xanadu and the Thetans and the body Thetans. And Hal Puthoff told everybody that he got superpowers from taking Scientology courses. In other words, two of his wackadoo friends told him his story, and he repeats it with no evidence, no corroboration, no supporting evidence, no backup, no documents, no videos, no pictures. Lou Elizondo has nothing because he's a grifty, greasy grifter. And he hasn't had a real job since 2017. He's been leeching off the UFO community like a goddamn drunken vampire since 2017, at least. And Lou Elizondo's involvement in TTSA collected millions of dollars. Him and his friends collected millions of dollars to show proof. How much proof did they show? None. Is it possible UAPs are extra dimensional?
Yeah, no proof at all. And think about how much airtime and how much publicity this has gotten now. I mean, literally, we covered a congressional hearing when Lou Elizondo was sitting right there in front of everybody, right, giving his story and getting like some kind of like whistleblower respect. He's not blowing the whistle on anything. He's blowing the whistle and to signal for more money to come to his pocket. That's all he's doing. You know, and again, how do these grifters get so far? How do they get so far in? I mean, who opens the doors for these guys? Who decides that this is the real deal? Like on one hand, you could have some people that come across real base and they seem like they're really good patriots as far as politicians go. Bert Chet comes to mind, and then all of a sudden he's way deep in this alien rabbit hole bullshit, and it's not making a goddamn bit of sense. So who's lining his pockets? Is there something that's beneficial to him, or is he just being handled? Like, is it handling or is it collaboration? Is it conspiracy? Right? The real conspiracy is how these clowns get it in front of Congress and how they get any attention. And now the word's going around. Well, I don't know if it's true or not, but they're going to spend money to investigate their claims. What? I thought we're trying to save money. I thought we're trying to be efficient. We're going to let clowns come in and spend our money now. So instead of spending it on DEI, we're going to spend it on conspiracy, UFO, or alien rabbit hole grifters. That's where the money's going to go now. Well, guys, go check it out. We'll just go to the fucking base, invade it with the goddamn military, go to the base to give us your shit or get shot. You know, go in there and tell them it's a full code zebra alert.
Zebra alert. Zebra alert. Zebra alert. Zebra alert. Zebra alert. Zebra alert. Show everyone in there. Zebra alert. Show everyone in there. Zebra alert. Show everyone in there. Zebra alert. Kill everyone in there. Zebra alert. Kill everyone in there.
Mission accomplished.
All right, full scale zebra alert. You know what that means? It's a full code zebra alert. That means I have to get on the line with Moscow now and ask him what the hell went on so that we can actually stand down. Okay, hello. Yes, hey, it's me. Yeah, we had another zebra alert here. I know it's been a minute, but we had one, of course. Yeah, I actually called this one. It was me. I did it. No, nothing to see here. Just talk about how these grifters get into our Congress and manage to are going to manage to spend some money chasing on a wild goose. I guess a wild zebra chase. The wild zebra chase. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. Thanks, guys. I will. I'll call you back next time. All right. Goodbye. All right. Stand down, zebra alert. Stand down. We're all right now. We're all right. Let's make sure I change that back so I'll freak anybody else later. All right. Stand down, zebra alert. Stand down, zebra alert. Okay. We're all good. Nobody died. Everybody had their zebra badges out. Thank you so much. We got this down pat, guys. We got it down pat. Nobody's going to get hurt. All right. Let's bring this back in and let's go.
And this I don't really care about because this is speculations. Several scientists, again, the same two wackadoos, probably Eric Davis and Eric Davis and Hal Puthoff, proposed that UAP may have interdimensional or even cryptozoological origins.
Cryptozoological origins. Can I buy that meme coin, please?
Leveraging cutting-edge knowledge of quantum physics and human consciousness, some scientists suggested that non-human intelligence potentially responsible for operating certain UAP might be as integral to our environment as other natural phenomena. And he has no proof of any of this shit. None.
Never does.
6. Are you aware of the recent claim made by journalist Christopher Sharp regarding Bigelow Aerospace, Lockheed Martin, and CIA blocking the transfer of materials? And here he just blames the men in black with no evidence, no proof, nothing. Yes, the CIA opposed the transfer of materials of advanced non-human origin from Lockheed Martin to Bigelow Aerospace. And again, he has no evidence of that. It's a story. Wouldn't there be documents? Wouldn't there be?
It's a story, and to give, and just to point out this, they're not following up with the questions right. I mean, they're not following up with the right questions. Oh, really? Okay. The answer is yes. Then let's go deeper. So what's the question? Can you confirm or deny an attempt to transfer yes, I can. And then here's a story, right? Okay. Well, can you produce any proof that about this confirmation? Do you have photos? Do you have can you tell us when and where? Well, I can't do that out in public because they might come and get me. Who's gonna come and get you? Tell us right now. We'll call them out. Tell us right now. We'll take care of it. No, what? You come here, you want our help, right? You're asking for help, you're asking for disclosure, and you're not willing to give any names in front of people. Well, you're so brave. You're sitting on television calling all this shit out without putting out names, and that's supposed to change things. People buy this shit. They actually buy it. And I don't understand why more people aren't calling it out. And it's just like somehow, oh yeah, man, they're serious about looking into this stuff now, huh? They better not spend a goddamn dime on this stuff. Not a goddamn penny unless it's to debunk it and call these guys out as grifters and form a new way of living where people aren't duped into being marks for these people.
I don't know, emails between members of the CIA and members of ATIP or OSAP? Sure there would. Why can't we see them? Because they don't exist. Because Louis Elizondo is a greasy scuzzbag grifter who has no evidence.
Why can't we see them? They don't exist.
Had a job since 2017 and now he's broke. He's broke. His book's not selling. And he's going to have to keep the grift going somehow. Can you confirm or deny? So he says he can confirm that specific facilities were identified to enable Bigelow Aerospace to securely store recovered UAP materials. Yeah. So these facilities,
Lockheed Martin, Skunk Works,
included locations. Again, these are stories. Where is the records? If they had all of these facilities, they would have invoices. There would be paperwork. There'd be a mountain of paperwork for all this. There isn't. I was informed that funding for the hangar was approximately $10 million, was allocated at the request of then Representative Steny Hoyer. Somebody get to him and verify that. I have visited this facility. However, as it was a new construction at the time, no materials had yet been transferred. In other words, there is no alien materials. It's all one big LARP. Question, how was it determined that Lockheed Martin had such non-human technology to begin with? Oh, this one, I'm unable to answer this question due to lack of direct knowledge. First time he told the truth in this. He has no direct knowledge of any of this. He's a LARPer, pretending to be a guy who ran a Pentagon UFO program. He never did. Were you aware of any efforts by the CIA to block the transfer of UAP-related materials? Yes, and similar obstructionist efforts were also made by the U.S. Air Force. There seems to be passive resistance from certain elements within the Central Intelligence Agency and more active campaign by specific factions within the U.S. Air Force to suppress inquiries and investigations. He's repeating UFO lore and mythology, of which there is no direct evidence to support. Yep. So he's putting facts and evidence, but he doesn't have any evidence to support his facts. They're not.
And he has no respect for our government to go in there and lie like this.
Facts. They're a story. Question, do you believe that the CIA or other government agencies are actively working to conceal UAP-related information from the public?
Of course.
Yes, many of my former colleagues and I have faced retaliation for our public advocacy of UAP transparency. He's talking about people fact-checking them and finding out that they're...
You're still sitting here with a fat bank account, aren't you?
Lying, grifting, scumbag losers. That's what he calls retaliation. This has included efforts to suspend or revoke our security clearances. Lou Elizondo, did you illegally get videos out of the Pentagon? Maybe that's why somebody tried to revoke your security clearances. And I meant to say, did you allegedly borrow videos out of the Pentagon that were never meant for public release and then take them over to TTSA where you and your friends collected millions of dollars promoting those videos as something alien? And at least 2 of the 3 of them completely debunked as nothing that you said they were. Administrative terrorism, there's that key word. Other forms of retaliation included harassment, surveillance, adverse bureaucratic actions, unauthorized data leaks, criminal investigations, and even death threats.
All right.
Why doesn't he provide the evidence for all of that?
We're going to go for a few more minutes with Steven, and then we're going to jump off and get to the next part of the program. I'm just wanted you guys to check this out. We got most of the history background of crash retrieval, and we're seeing right now where it's led. So we're in the present here, and we're seeing how lame the attempts are by our own Congress to try to figure this out. They got the wrong people in charge of this. What you ought to be trying to figure out if these guys are legit or not. What you're doing is assuming they are. And I don't like that one bit. You know, the assumptions in these questions leads people to believe, it gives credibility to these guys where they don't deserve it. They haven't earned it. They haven't earned it. I don't give a fuck if that guy has been in the military or not, or he's worked at the Pentagon or not. If anything, it makes him more suspicious. It makes him need to be vetted even more, not less. There's not instant credibility. Oh, yeah, well, you worked at the Pentagon. Of course aliens are real. Of course they've been here. Oh, yeah, let's just start there. We'll start there. We won't go down and use basic logic and create a firm and real premise. We'll just start with a false premise and we'll work out from there. All right, let's take about another minute of this and then we're gonna move on. But I hope you've enjoyed listening to Steven Cambian of Truth Seekers.
Next question, was any of the 22 million said to have gone to OSAP earmarked for alleged transfer of non-human technology from Lockheed Martin to Bigelow? Response, the $22 million that funded OSAP ATIP was directed to a variety of programmatic needs, including commissioning academic studies on advanced physics concepts. Yeah, they wasted $22 million. Have you ever seen the paper that they wrote? Eric Davis wrote this paper, and it's got Einstein waving to Barney the dinosaur through a wormhole. I shit you not. They wasted $22 million in taxpayer money chasing after dino beavers and werewolves and poltergeists and ghosts. And the people involved one person involved claimed that a werewolf followed him home from Skinwalker Ranch. Another person claimed that poltergeist followed him home. Another person claimed that a ghost followed one of the participants of this $22 million study home and then murdered his wife. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, it was the werewolf. It wasn't him.
In addition to my responses, I strongly encourage the committee to obtain U.S. government's current UAP security.
I knew I should have got involved in this.
Yeah, so he has no knowledge of any of this stuff. Thank you for the opportunity to testify before this committee. Yeah, great. Your testimony is worthless. Lou Elizondo's testimony is completely and totally worthless. Completely and totally worthless because he has to admit in this document, he has no firsthand knowledge. He didn't
At
see
all.
any alien spaceships. He didn't see any alien crash retrieval parts. At least none they can prove are actually from an alien star system.
So
He
why
didn't
is he
see
even there?
alien bodies. He's just been repeating the same old tired stories that everybody in UFO land has been repeating this whole time. And he has refused to get a job since 2017. Like I said, he's been the biggest leech on the UFO community. Book deals, documentary deals, live speaking engagements, TV show deals. You know what I think? I think Lou Elizondo, get a job, you bum! Get a job, you grifting scumbag bum! Get a job, bro! Unless you have real first.
It reminds me a little bit of Gilbert Godfrey. Just a little bit. That's just some, just an observation.
Knowledge and evidence that you can share, then stop with all the over sensationalized, the pretending. He always pretended for years now that he had top secret insider knowledge about those alien spaceships and those alien bodies.
Yep.
And here we see in black.
See, doesn't that remind you of me going off on Greer? I mean, that's how I was like, yeah, I mean, I feel you. I know exactly where you're coming from with the frustration of these clowns getting away with it for decades. I totally get it, man. Steven Greer and his goddamn bullshit campaign, Zebra Alert, and all his $2 billion in 1990 and all of this other crap. Meanwhile, he's still shitting in people's ears on a nightly basis and duping them and taking their money. Oh, thank you. I'll just take that money. Thank you so much. It's like, it's frustrating as hell. I get where Cambian is coming from.
And white. In his written response, he doesn't know shit. He doesn't know anything about he didn't see anything. He has no firsthand knowledge. He has no firsthand proof. He has stories that other wackadoos told him, and this aligns.
That's the way it works, man. That's the way it works. One wackadoo, the next. They pass the stories down. They embellish it a little bit. They make it a little bit new, right? And make it their own, put their own little seasoning on it, right? And now they're back. Now they're with the big boys, and I'm pretty sure that's how it works, man. Going back to Drake Kent Bailey, right? We talked about him earlier. Original Q. Now he thinks he's a transdimensional super soldier, right? So that I was like, well, how do you get into this grifty community? How do you become part of it? Did these guys, because he was with some guy who looked like he was in a nursing home or something. I don't know what he was. Some big fat dude. He's like coughing up. He's like wearing a I don't know, muumuu or something. And there's some old lady there, some old hippie lady, all grifted out and stuff. And they're all talking like they're buying each other's bullshit. And I'm just like, well, how does this work? It's like, I think the way that works is like, it's an unsung kind of thing where if you can repeat the story, right, and you can embellish upon it, everybody else will believe you. Right? They'll go along with you. They'll include you. And it's like you just sit around making shit up with other people. And now you're part of that. Now you're part of the grifter community, right? Now you're in. And this was proven by a kid who went undercover and the super soldier, transdimensional super soldier community, right? And he found one of the main grifters for that. Some guy who swears the guy, he does this. He goes, he leaves his mind and goes to other dimensions, and he can blow up planets with just a thought. And he's fighting these wars. He's negotiating peace treaties between Palladians and Androgyans and whatever. He's doing all this stuff in another world, right? He's make-believing, but he says it's for real. Well, this guy learned his lore, right? Learned everything about it, learned the key words, made up a story, and worked his way onto his podcast. And then when he said certain key things, he'd watch the guy light up, and then he would be allowed to continue. And he then validated his completely bullshit made up story. And I think that's the way it works. And I think that's what happened with Jake Barber and others, as they watched Steven Greer, they watched all these other people, they learned the lore, right? And they went in there and they adopted a little bit of part of it, right? And then they kind of like, because they're always having to refresh it, because the reason they have to refresh the grift so often is because they always fail to meet the marks, right? The disclosure's coming this year, didn't happen. Disclosure's coming this year, didn't happen. Disclosure's coming this year. We're really on the fringe. We're really on the edge. It's about to happen, and it doesn't, and it won't, and it still won't. It won't happen again this year either. Right, this will all blow over, and then when the government doesn't come through with the bias confirmation, everybody else say it's a cover up, right? And they'll start again, So now Jake Barber went in there and took the CE5 protocols, which Steven Greer he co-created with the aliens when he was abducted in Appalachian State, right? meditating in a field all day long. Definitely not on anything, right? And somehow they needed to co-create a protocol for contact because picking him up and just putting him on a ship and it just wasn't good enough. I don't know why they needed this, but somehow he justified it and created a little new age cult where they would go out and they would call aliens, and he probably used a laser pointer back then, and then then it became flares out of planes. Now it's probably drones off the coastline, was on some boat somewhere. He paid some people to go do it, right? That nobody knows. They'll do it. They don't care, right? So he's got a big cruise. He sold out a cruise. You know how much a cruise costs to sell out? Bands used to do it all the time. They still do jam cruises out of the Florida, right? You sell out a jam cruise, dude, you're set for the freaking year, dude. You're rocking and rolling. You're rocking and rolling, dude. So he's set for a whole year. He's got a bunch of marks on a boat. He's going to go out there and he's going to put on a show like he always does. He's going to control the narrative, tell people what they can and can't do, what this means and what that means. They'll never meet an alien. They'll never see a UFO up close. And they spend all this money to go do it. But they got to meet Steven Greer. He's just as ugly a person as he is on TV. Yes. So these guys, man, they co-opt the narrative. So you go back to the crash retrieval stories from way back when Steven Cambian here is pointed out, and you hear elements of the Dr. Steven Greer in there, don't you? Right? But now it's like we're shooting him down, and this goes way back to the Roswell incident, right? He'll tag that shit. And he'll say, well, we're shooting him down 2 times a year at 2 different places. That's 4 UFOs we're shooting down a year over 40 years. We did the math, and so like 160 shot down UFOs. You got enough tech yet? And it was, well, and luckily they're benevolent, or else we'd all be dead. Really, after 140? So don't get to 200, right? They got some kind of number. Well, yeah, you can shoot down 140 of them. We don't care. But get to 200, we might have to come destroy your planet and eat your brains. And like the grift has to continue. So they'll listen to each other's elaborations. Oh, that's very creative. I'll just latch onto that and say, watch. And this is how they become so predictable. Watch. Now what's going to happen is it's time to play. They're playing jazz. So they're playing improv, man. Do you take a solo? I take a solo, right? And we didn't practice solo beforehand. And if I change the rhythm up, I change it a little bit, we're going to go this way. And if I do this, we're going to go that. We're going to bring it up. We're going to bring it down. Tension and release, man. We're a jam band. That's how we do it, right? And so, oops. Okay, so yeah, so that now he's going to play a little jazz off of Jake and Lou. And he doesn't like Lou, and there's some drama there. And he doesn't like, Ross won't have him on the show, and he's not invited to the cult. So you got the interdimensional UFO grifter drama going on top of that, which is the really interesting part, right? Where does it all fit in? Why did Jake claim Steven at one point but doesn't now? Because Steven probably is a control freak and he wanted to go his way. Well, I'm the one with the disclosure project. I'm the popular one. They're like, well, we'll get popular too. We'll go to Congress. God damn it. We'll use our military background. You don't have one. You just sound like you were in the military, but you never were. Right. Full of code zebra alert. Right. And yes, listen to the wolf. The wolf knows what he's talking about for sure. So yeah, I mean, these guys have no idea what's going on, and that's what Cambian has pointed out greatly, very, very well in this stream. There's more to the stream, but I got other stuff I want to move on to. Maybe we'll come back. I think I got to this point, and I was like, I got to show this to the crowd, man, because it's such a great history lesson. But I'll watch the rest of this and see if there's some more stuff I can add in later on, and we'll come back to. We'll check in with Steven from time to time on the show. Because he's doing the great de-grifting work out there, man. Good on you. Thank you for letting me share your content this evening, Mr. Cambian. And keep on de-grifting, man. Keep on de-grifting. You're doing great work. We'll come back to that, man. He makes some great points about this, and that's what I'm trying to uncover here. I'm trying to unveil the reality in this portion of the show. I have many different series that are under the label Unveiling Reality, mind control, things like that. De-grifting, conspiracy grifts that are outside of the UFO alien rabbit hole. There's plenty to do because conspiracy grifters are everywhere, and they are just as abusive as subversives from the establishment. So they do just as much damage too. They discredit people that who otherwise would be pretty based, but we'll continue down this, and what we're trying to figure out here is how this all gets started. And Cambian did a great job of adding to that lore tonight of, you know, these guys going back in the past and just keep telling a story over and over again, embellishing it. Where they coordinate, I think we take some of that and some of our past research as well, and to things like the super soldier grifts that are out there, where Drake ended up, and seeing how people merge themselves in these new grifts, right? And maybe it comes down that we do it ourselves one day. Maybe one day we just kind of put a little disguise on or something, right? I got some tie-dye shirts somewhere, right? Put a little disguise on, get some of them John Lennon glasses, right? And I go in there and see if I could sneak into one of these grift circles and get the inside investigative thing going on. I don't know, maybe, you never know what's going to happen, but I think that's how it is. Like, if you show up and you're good at talking about this shit, right, and you can add to it, you got your own abduction story and it vibes. And that's how I got into psionics, and I started being able to control these things. Like, as a kid, I was able to do it. And I noticed it was little things at first, like a blinking light off in the sky. It would fly by my window at night, kind of sit there and then take off when I was thinking about certain things as I got older. And then when I hit puberty, boy, did it, you know, and then by the time I was in college, dude, I did all this stuff, and then it opened my mind up to new possibilities, and I was able to actually fly these things and actually become part of them. Actually, my soul became part of the egg, and we were flying around. I was like, I fly left, I fly right, I blink on, I blink off, I turn into 3, I turn back into 1. It was great, man. I had a great time, fun at parties, chicks dig it, you know, and all that stuff. You know, just come up with some shit, right? And then you go out there and you sell it. And as long as you're not too over the top, you don't step on anybody's toes, and you work yourself in there, you're fine. And God bless it if you have a fucking military background. If you're in the military, boy, you could grift all day long. Wolfram, you should get in there, man. You should go in there. You should say, I was grifting. I was out there back in the day, man. You know, yeah, you're very late to your but it's okay. You're right on time. You know, any of my military, my vets and active military that are in my chat, come to my shows. You guys should get on this, man. Get on it. I'll coach you. I can get in your ear. I'll tell you what to say. Yeah, man. Back in, you know, we were flying the helicopters over there, and in comes Charlie, and you know, we'll work it out. We'll work it out. But yeah, I think that's how it's done, man. I really do. But then there's the other part of this, right? Military industrial complex. Beware of the military industrial complex. They're after you, right? And that's where maybe we got some crossover, dude, because it does still serve a dual purpose. While these people that maybe don't have a lot going on otherwise, or have a lot of debt or something, right? They figure out, well, look, I don't give a fuck about people anyway, so I'll just run over them and abuse the hell out of them and try to get every dime out of them I can, right? At all costs, and I'll do it with a smile on my face, right? They have no soul, they have no conscience. So they come out and they're like, they're willing to do that, but at the same time, these military contractors, these military equipment developers, I don't know what you call them, the military industrial complex, man, the people making all the money off the wars, right? Well, they're always trying to get bigger, better, and better stuff and sell it better, bigger, faster, better bombs, better planes, better ships, better whatever, right? And they're always trying to advance it, go out there, sell it, blow it up, build some more, blow it up again, sell more, make it, advance it. So they got to test this stuff out, and they don't want people stealing their secrets. But inevitably, there's somebody watching somewhere, and it catches something somewhere on film, and they're like, well, we don't know what that is. It certainly isn't our new top secret jet, right? I mean, that was like the Roswell cover-ups. All these things, all these cover-ups have been, you know, secret aircraft, like advanced military aircraft, and they didn't come out 10 years later and be like, look, it's a stealth bomber. Wow, look at this YouTube. See, SR-71. Look at that. You know, it's all these great new things, and wow, how about that? It looks kind of like those things people said they saw a long time ago. Now it's going to be drone technology, right? It's going to be other stuff. So they got other things they're going to be trying to cover up. And these grifters played right into that role. So are they handled? Are they paid? Are they part of it? Let's take a look at this guy named Danny Sheehan. Okay, now we're going to get into what's his name? The mic grabber. Oops, hey, look who's back. Old mic grabber, right? We're going to look at his using this now because I think that he's on target. I think he's kind of, I can't figure this guy out. Maybe somebody that's not Joe Kitty. What's up? How you doing? Maybe somebody that's more sophisticated, you know, been around doing this longer or whatever. I think that he's a buy-in for the Elizondo stuff. I think he's a buy-in for Crash Retrieval as a creator. I think he's a buy-in for it. But and I think he's kind of on the fence about Greer. But I think but then sometimes I think that he's almost on the grifting side of it, because he's like, maybe he's so neutral that it's hard to tell, and that's his gimmick. I don't know, but you guys know who he is. He grabs the mic, he puts it in his mouth. Look at that. Oh my God, look at this. I'm all the way up on the screen now. This happened earlier. Look at this. This is the scenes you can do now. Look at that. Wow, I'm all the way down here. Now I'm up here. Wow. They let you go all the way up on the screen now. I didn't know you could do that. Look at this. No background, just me and you. So intimate. You guys like this better, or do you like it better like this? I've kind of always had the background going, but you know, this could be a thing. Tell me what you think. Nacho Kitty, you've been here a long time. Do you like this look, or do you like this look? I kind of like this one, but you guys tell me what you like. Anyways, let's get back to this. This guy, mic grabber. All right. So he's not eating a charcoal snow cone. It's actually trying to speak into a microphone. I'm giving him a hard time. He's probably a really nice guy, but he's definitely closer. No, not really. Hold on, which one? Closer? You like the closer one? Well, I have to wait till I go back to the other screen, but does that work? Oh my God, look at there it is again. I kind of recreated the background with my lighting here. But I mean, it's so wild to be like this far up on the screen. I feel like I'm like driving with my head in the windshield or something. You know, it's kind of crazy. Anyways, let's get back to it. This dude, vetted, right? Patrick is his name. His name's Patrick. Pat P. Patrick. All right. And anyways, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a real nice guy. I don't want to dog him out. But he tends to kind of lean on I believe in aliens have been here kind of guy. Like he leads with the false premise, I believe. I don't know, but I like using his stuff because he has it all nice and cut up for me. So, you know, we'll listen to a little bit of what he has to say, but we're just really here for the clips. So what I want you guys to take a look at this point, right? And this is kind of short. Is this guy right there? See him? The guy looks like he's on the Quaker Oats box right there. Okay, that dude. That guy, that's the lawyer, right? That's the Danny Sheehan lawyer to Steven Greer and Lou Elizondo, which is a weird combination because those two guys don't like each other. Don't step on my grift, man. Right? So anyways, this guy in the middle of an interview may have let out something that wasn't supposed to get out. So I probably will start it about right here, and then we'll just get through it.
And brought up alien reproduction vehicles, and it turns out like Danny has changed his mind on whether or not they are real, right? So before he didn't think they were real. Now he's got a different story to tell.
One of the videos that you promoted in your newsletter had to do with something called ARVs, alien reproduction vehicles, and the implication was that these private corporations that the government has entrusted with captured UFOs have been able to create vehicles that simulate what the UFOs are like. And I
hate this part. They're able to simulate it because everybody knows what an alien UFO can actually do. And so that's the part that they grip people on so hard. I mean, nobody ever calls it out. Like, nobody knows what an alien crap looks like. We don't have any. But no, they make them so similar that you can't tell the difference. What do you mean can't tell the difference? I've never seen one. How am I supposed to compare something I've never seen before?
Of these supposedly have been capable of flying, capable of leaving the atmosphere, maybe even capable of traveling at close to light speeds.
Okay, stop. Educated crowd. Most based educated crowd in the scene right here, winning reality. Guys, who's he quoting? Where did he get that information from? Put it in the chat right now. Put it in the chat. Pop quiz. Where did he get that narrative from? Do you want me to replay it? Where did you get the narrative from? Let me know. Win a prize. Yes, Heidi's been paying attention. That was a Steven Greer narrative, right? The deep on the military, corporate, rogue military, corporate underground bases, close to light speed, Lockheed Skunk Works, all this bullshit, right?
And when Jake Barber gave his lengthy interview, I had the impression that most of the work he was doing in the program was involving retrieving captured vehicles that were actually manufactured by humans, experimental vehicles that might crash.
I think that's true. I think that is true. You know, they have a range. He talks about working on the range where they're going out to retrieve these things if they fall down. You know, that's
Wait, how lucky to have a range where aliens come right to you. I love it. Or like man-made aliens. You can't tell the difference though, because you know everybody knows what an alien ship looks like, so you can't tell the difference.
That's a very specific, restricted kind of activity that they're engaged in.
Now, I'm actually a little hard of hearing, but I think I just...
Is that why you hold the mic into your nose? Oh, sorry. Can't help it.
Heard
trying to be nice.
To basically say that the UFOs that Jake Barber has been retrieving when he was part of the crash retrieval programs for advanced aerospace tech companies or whoever he did it for, I guess, weren't, you know, ET craft. They were retrieving alien reproduction.
We don't need anybody to explain this to us. That's nobody. That's not even, like I said, there's nothing to compare an alien craft to. I mean, a man-made alien craft to, because there's no alien crafts to compare them to. So this is a false premise that this gets run over and over and over again. And somehow I think he thinks he has to explain this. But let's get back to the clips here, because okay, here we go. This is the guy I want you to listen to.
I've had long discussions for the 20 years that I was general counsel for the Disclosure Project.
Okay, that's where you know him from. So he worked with Greer in the past. All right, he's the ultimate grifter. Hey, Bahala, what's up? He's the ultimate grifter. He's jumped from Greer over to Elizondo, right? So he's like super. Of course, leave it to the lawyer to be the ultimate. Hey, Vice baby, how you doing, dude? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for rating. And let me tell you something, man. I got something for you. Where is it at? You can't find this because I unlisted all these videos. Let me get to my playlist real quick. So while you're here, you will enjoy this. And you can't find it because I unlisted all the videos, but the playlist, because they're unlisted, the playlist is still good. And you will find a lot of footage of your dad being a rock star in here. So I saw you stop by before, and I was like, oh, you know, that sounds familiar. And I didn't put two and two together the first time you came by. But thank you for rating my stream. I appreciate that. But I wanted to give you this gift here, and it's got a lot of cool, funny stuff. I did a whole series called LawTube is Getting Weird. Back when LawTube was real popular when it first started, before you know all the things happened that happened, and it's a fun little ride. It's when AI and refacing first came out, and I kind of turned it into a rock and roll adventure, and I did the best I could with it. It was early days of my channel, and I was just having a lot of fun, and I was just I didn't quite know what to do yet. I know what I wanted to do, but this popped up, and I was like, you know what, it's a good way to have fun and just do it. I gotta find it though. Give me 1 second, and I'll throw you the playlist of this, and you could have it forever. And you'll get to see all the singing and stuff. It goes from like singing, it goes from singing on like streams to like full bands. So, and your dad's a lead singer in one of the bands. So I'll let you find it. It's called Tokyo Grift was the name of the band. And I had Max Mura and Meme Copium and Legal Mindset, Andrew. I gotta find it though. Oh man. It's buried. My playlist is buried. Where are you at, playlist? I know you're here somewhere. It's been so long since I put anything on. It's probably way in the back. Cult Mind Control. I have way back here. 18 wheeling. Some old one. Repairing history together. Some old ones here back. I got so many playlists. I got like hundreds. Oh, here it is. Got it. All right, got it. So this will be fun to watch, and the music in it is awesome, by the way. Here you go. LawTube is Getting Weird. There you go. It's a lot of fun, and it's a musical adventure. You should enjoy it. Dark Lotus, what's up? How you doing? Ellie Font, what's going on? We got all kinds of people coming in here, man. We are down in the UFO alien rabbit hole. We're de-grifting these guys tonight. We do that every well, that's what the theme of Unveiling Reality has been lately. That's what we've been doing lately. So right now we're talking about this guy, Danny Sheehan, who is you should have played it. Played what? Oh, I can't play it, man. That series right there. That's why I learned how to combat copyright claims, man. There's so much, even though it's all AI, it's all been redone. They get you for the audio, they get you for the video, but man, there's some good stuff in there. Legal Vices. There's some good stuff in there. He kind of steals the show a few times early on, especially. Hold on. It kind of steals the show a few times, but the later bands that Tokyo Grift stuff, it's like really good. I think some of my favorite videos I made were of that band, and that's why I like that band so much. But they especially the one where they did the Offspring song, like that was a fun video to make. So these are all things I've learned how to make and use AI, and I honed my video making skills doing this series. And so now it's kind of just sitting there. There you go. Awesome, dude. Enjoy. I think you'll dig it. You'll get a good laugh out of it, and you'll enjoy the music. The music's great. I think I can't remember how many different songs I used over the course of it. Like I did a whole tally of it at some point where it's like, so many hit songs, so many bands, so many things. I don't know. It's been so long. I did it years ago, but enjoy. And thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. So Danny Sheehan is a lawyer who grifts across time. Basically, he's a grift. He must have one of those alien UFO teleporter things that the Skunk Works has. But he's Disclosure Project lawyer. Now he's with Lou Elizondo and the Crash Retrieval Gang. Tonight, earlier in the stream, we went over the history of Crash Retrieval Grift, how that's been working for decades, how these guys elaborate a little bit on it to keep the grift going, and where it is today. So here we go. He's getting ready to drop a bombshell about the latest quote unquote whistleblower, Jake Barber, who claims to have been part of some kind of UFO egg retrieval system. And he's going to drop a bombshell. I don't think he meant to drop here.
With Steven Greer. Dr. Greer have been trying to tell people for decades that, look, you're wrong if you think that they haven't been able to make some breakthroughs in looking at this technology, that some significant number of the craft that you see running around are not, in fact, extraterrestrial. They're human.
They're not human. They're human. They're not extraterrestrial because we have never seen an extraterrestrial, so we don't know what to compare it to. Did the Bahala origin video get copyrighted? No. That is still out there. The last time I played one of those clips, it did, but I'm like, whatever. So it's in our interview. So go to Winning Saturday Night, Bahala Waits interview. All three of those videos are in there. But yeah, last time one of them got claimed by somebody. I don't know. You never know. You never know with those things, because we got through that whole interview and I had no problems at all. So I don't know. Don't tell anybody about it. I don't have to go deal with another copyright claim.
that we have succeeded in doing some and capturing some of the technology, and that they've generated some of these vehicles now. And I've come to understand that that's true.
You see,
come to understand it. There's a this mic. The comes to understand it's true. Yeah, it's a lawyer talking it. So here we go. We don't need the commentary. I'm just going to jump ahead.
I was being told, oh no, they don't really know how to handle this. They can't. Their consciousness can't function. They can't make the machines work or anything like that. It's clear that they jury rigged, I think, some of the technology, and so that
he's just making it up too. He's like, I'm in on the grift, man. I've been learning from the best. I've been with Steven Greer for a decade. He's raking it. He's probably making the most money out of everybody.
They can operate it more or less like a prosaic vehicle, even though it has some extraordinary capacities. Now, the other problem is, of course, that the fact that these vehicles are run by telepathic communication, right, on the part of the pilot, that they were in fact having substantial difficulties in having the trained pilots that they have in the Air Force, for example.
Yeah, this is a bunch of bullshit. Hey, Bahala, had you considered becoming a UFO grifter? Do you have any good UFO stories? You get to live on a farm. You have some, good. You can do it. Just use your military credentials, and then everybody will believe you that you somehow are in contact and you have seen UFOs, and you're part of a retrieval team. They made you carry the egg because you're the guy who carries stuff. Can we take a second to acknowledge how insane it is that the lead singer from Blink-182 is largely responsible for the UFO government admitting to alien existence? I don't think that he ever. I mean, the fact that he's even involved, this shows that he never really did love his fans, but yeah, I don't think that U.S. government's ever admitted to alien existence. I mean, and not in a solidified way. It's like, here's how we'll do it, right? Here's how they'll do it. They'll be like, well, we have a very big universe, right? It's a huge universe, and the odds are that there's life out there somewhere. Okay, and that's the premise they'll operate off of. Oh, because it's a big universe, therefore life must exist somewhere, which I think most people will go with, right? Therefore, all UFOs are aliens. Or if you buy into this guy and his gang story, some of them are, and some of them are just so close to looking like aliens you can't tell the difference, right? So they jump the shark, and what they do is they say, okay, well, because you've admitted that alien life must exist in this universe, then that's what we're seeing now. It's false logic. It's circular logic. I think it's called begging the question. I see. I could record and post Miss Valhalla shooting Roman candles or something, and it's yeah. The trick is this: when you're filming it, you got to shake the camera around a bunch, right? You can blur it in and out, shake it. And if you could find some power lines, put it between the power lines. Like if that's standard power out of the box, how to grift a UFO. With a handheld camera. So do that. Lefty, what's up, man? How you doing? Good to see ya. All right, so we have to get to the bombshell here. Let's go.
And in the Navy, that somehow they weren't capable of the kind of consciousness that was necessary to communicate and navigate these craft. And so what they did.
The bad part about it is when I play these videos, I stop them so much because there's so much to go over. The whole psionic, the whole idea. I lived there. Well, there you go. You're on your way, man. Just say, and you have to in the military, I was like, I saw this and did that. And there's this one time out there and all that stuff. And then you're on your way. I think that we could get you into the alien UFO grift community, and you could be our undercover brother who exposes the entire grift, how they operate. What's one of the questions we were talking about tonight is like, how do these guys operate? I think what it is that if you come up with an embellished story that's based on the base root narrative, they'll just bring you in and let you go, right? And nobody ever talks about the fact they're all making shit up. I really think that's how it works. I really do. And I talked about this kid earlier who had infiltrated the super transdimensional super soldier community doing this exact tactic. He learned the syntax. He learned the lore. He came up with his own story, and all of a sudden they were like, come on in, brother. And they never questioned him one time about the story or his legitimacy, and he was undercover the entire time. So I'm pretty sure that's how it works. The other side of this is what we're going down this talking about right now, is how much influence does the military industrial complex have in these UFO grifts, because they run great cover for their test flights, right? And their new technology. They run great cover for that. They also run great cover for spooking our enemies, into believing we have technology far beyond our capacity, which spooks them, right? AKA Star Wars and Ronald Reagan. So, how much are they involved at this point? And we're going to find out here in just a minute that Jake Barber may still have some connections to that very industry. Let's check it out.
Is they went out and they started trying to recruit people. As you point out, that they've actually gone and tried to find children who demonstrate these kind of psychic capabilities, and that they began a sub-program of psionics.
And let me welcome you to part 2. This is the sensitive.
Dude, hey, just guys, again, this isn't improper mic usage. I just want to say that you don't want to do this, but I guess he's nervous or something here. I'm going to go ahead and speed ahead, right? All right. So this is the bombshell. Let's go.
Doesn't agree with this either.
This entire effort to try to gear up people who have these capabilities.
Might have made us wait to the end.
And recruit them to actually be pilots for these craft.
This is he's just making all this shit up. He's making all this up. They're not trying to recruit children to pilot eggs in space. They're not. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But here he is on this podcast. I guess he gets paid to go on there. Who knows? Somehow he makes money. And here he is trying to sell this bullshit. And look at, here he is. Let's see.
Because of the high levels of consciousness.
Founder of the New Paradigm Institute. He's the founder of the New Paradigm Institute. How much money does that thing? Hey, Blue Lantern, what's up? How you doing? How much money does that place make, right? How much money does that place make? We gotta get to this
psychic abilities that they've had. Now, I'm not at liberty to go into some of the details.
Never at liberty to go into the details. No, you can't go into the details. No, that's where the devil is.
About this, because the means by which I've acquired this information puts certain people at risk of revealing who they are. But there have been some very substantial there's been some very substantial misconduct involved in working with these children and trying to train them to apply these craft.
Where are you abusing these children at, so that we can go rescue them?
And there have been some substantial misconduct with regard to the way they've treated the occupants of these craft, to the point of capturing them, killing them.
The aliens are, dude, what we've learned is these aliens are giant pussies, man. We shoot down their UFOs, we torture and imprison them, and they don't do a damn thing about it. I mean, have you ever felt more superior as a human?
Subjecting them to all kinds of coercive activities, and
coercive activities. They make the aliens sleep with Lizzo. Like, do it. No, I don't want to do it.
Our New Paradigm Institute is working with people in the Justice Department. Now, the Federal Justice Department, to try to bring about a major investigation to determine what some of those activities have been, so that we can purge those activities from the present system that they're working with.
Again, I think we could.
We got to purge it. We have to have an investigation so we can purge it. You know what we need to do? Purge all the conspiracy grifters out there from wasting our time in Congress with this bullshit. I can't believe they take some of this shit seriously too. It's just over the top. Okay, this guy's gonna. Here we go. There's the bombshell. Finally,
the program began by trying to find younger children here inside the United States who were actually, interestingly, children of people in the military.
How about that? Wow.
And in the intelligence,
who would have known?
Community, they were trying to keep it in the family because of the security of the program.
Oh yeah.
And so that they were approaching the people that were involved.
This is like the plot of the X-Men or something.
In our military and in our intelligence community, when they had children that seemed to be particularly gifted in this area, and they recruited them to come into the military program, and provide special training and stuff for them. And then it began apparently to expand out beyond that to other people in the United States, because they had some sense that if they confined their program to just people inside the United States, that it would be harder for the Chinese and Russians to realize we were doing it. A little naive, in my opinion.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, considering
that I was general counsel for the Disclosure Project with Stephen Greer. Dr. Greer had been trying to tell people for decades that, look, you're wrong if you think that they haven't been able to make some breakthroughs in looking at this technology, that some significant number don't really know how to handle this. They can't, their consciousness can't function. You can't make the machines work or anything like that. It's clear that they jury rigged, I think, some of the technology. And so that they can operate it more or less like a prosaic vehicle, even though it has some extraordinary capacities. Now, the other problem is, of course, that the fact that these vehicles.
This is crazy. If we need children, right? It's Danny's going to start talking about this, and to be honest with you, he doesn't agree with this either.
This entire effort to try to gear up
and this all part of the same thing, right? These black site programs or whatever, that's going on that they're using to connect to craft. It gets even stranger. right? If you didn't think it could get stranger, it does, right? What Danny's about to reveal here, right? Allegedly, I honestly, I couldn't believe.
This is a challenge. The program began by trying to find younger. Now, the federal justice, and there have been some substantial of the craft that you see running around are not, in fact, extraterrestrial. They're human.
Okay.
That we have succeeded in doing some and capturing some of the technology, and that they've generated some of these vehicles now. And I've come to understand that that's true.
You see, because before, I don't know if I ever heard Danny talk about it. Now, he did work with Dr. Steven Grift for a long time. True. Then that means we have the alien vehicles, right? We have the UFOs. But now it becomes real confusing of how to tell them apart.
You know, I at the very beginning, I was being told, oh no, they don't really know how to handle this. They can't. Their consciousness can't function. You can't make the machines work or anything like that. It's clear that they jury rigged, I think, some of the technology, and so that they can operate it more or less. I think that's true. I think that is true. You know, they have a range. He talks about working on the range where they're going out to retrieve these things if they fall down. You know, that's a very specific, restricted kind of activity that they're engaged in.
Now, I'm actually a little hard of hearing, but I think I just heard these two basically say that the UFOs that Jake Barber has been retrieving when he was part of the crash retrieval programs for advanced aerospace tech companies, or whoever he did it for, I guess, weren't, you know, ET craft. They were retrieving alien reproduction vehicles, meaning man-made vehicles. Right? That's interesting, because I don't think that's been said before. Can that mean alien craft and alien reproduction vehicle? I hope not, because one is man-made. Granted, they're claiming that it's man-made off of alien technology, but the other one is clearly man has nothing.
And then I've had long discussions for the 20 years that I was general counsel for the disclosure project, that look, you're wrong if you think that they haven't been able to make some breakthroughs in looking at this technology, that some significant number of the craft that you see running around are not, in fact, extraterrestrial. They're human. That we have succeeded in doing some.
Sorry, guys, I'm trying to find
and capturing some of the technology,
Indigo Children BS,
and that
right?
they've generated some of these vehicles now. And I've come to understand that that's true.
You see, because before, I don't know if I ever heard Danny talk about it for it sounds like they're confirming it is a real thing.
I at the very beginning, I was being and so that they can operate it more or less like a prosaic telepathic communication. Somehow they weren't capable of the kind of consciousness that was necessary. Kind of
children, and you know, he just feels kind of icky, right? It's kind of, let's take care of it again. Idea making it. Guys. It's like, anyway, you know, he
these capabilities and recruit them to actually craft themselves, not a mock-up of them, be trained over years. Now, I'm not at liberty to go into some certain people at risk.
I swear to God, I was in here, man.
Apply these craft to the point of capturing them, you know, in regard to the way they've treated the federal justice department to try to bring about a major and purge those
to get children. If it's not, but involving them, it just, who cares if another one who kind of told them, Jake, or, you know, that's going on that. I honestly, I couldn't believe.
This is a challenge. The program began by trying to find young children because of the security of to expand the program. A little naive, in my opinion, for the Chinese.
Well, yeah, because
what the fuck, man? I had this.
People that would check like that. Military persons would be like, because one is man-made. Granted, think about it.
All right. So basically, what he said was in this thing, he said that Jake Barber was still working for Northrop Grumman. That was the big thing. I don't know where the fuck I missed that at. It's really pissed me off.
That's a very specific, restricted kind of activity that they're engaged in.
Now, I'm actually a little hard of hearing, but I
capture.
Think about it for a second.
I've seen it like 3 times and I can't find it.
They summon in his leaders or members vehicles, right? Into question. Hey, this is a non-human craft. Are you implying? Is that the same thing as is that the same description for an alien reproduction vehicle? Would they say? Right? Does that mean the same thing? Right? If they say non-human craft, can that mean alien craft and alien reproduction vehicle? I hope not, because one is man-made. Granted, they're claiming that it's man-made off of alien technology, but the other one is clearly man has nothing to do with it. So I don't think they should be in the same. And it, I can't tell if that's what's happening.
And then I've had long discussions for the 20 years that I was general counsel for the Disclosure Project with Stephen Greer.
I've got proof now.
Dr. Greer have been trying to tell people for decades that, look, you're wrong if you think that they haven't been able to make some breakthroughs in looking at this technology, that some significant number of the craft that you see running around are not, in fact, extraterrestrial. They're human. That we have succeeded in doing some and capturing some of the technology, and that they've generated some of these vehicles now. And I've come to understand that that's true.
You see, because before, I don't know if I ever heard Danny talk about it. Now, he did work with Dr. Stephen Greer for a long time, and that is something that Dr. Stephen Greer has said for a long time, right, about these alien reproduction vehicles. They retrieved egg-shaped craft. They also retrieved, and then they summoned craft, but then aerospace tech companies or whoever he did it for, I guess, weren't.
Barber gave his lengthy interview. I had the impression that most of the work he was doing in the program was involving retrieving captured vehicles that were actually manufactured by humans, experimental vehicles that might crash.
I think that's true. I think that is true. They have a range. He talks about.
So basically, he said that Barber is still potentially working for Northrop Grumman. All right. And if I can clear that up and make it more clear, I will. I'm not going to waste anybody's time. I thought it was very much, I had it queued up and then I was like, where the fuck did it go? And then it was just gone. So there we go. All right. Back to my playlist here. That TikTok video, remember the TikTok video? Everybody's like, there's a Tic Tac, right? It's Tic Tac. It's real. It's real.
Say that I disagree with that for sure.
Well, turns out it really isn't. Look, I think we already knew that. But that got a lot of. In fact, you can even see it in the trailer video for the show. At least this series right here, and the now YouTube's gonna make me want to shut this down.
All right. Is the gatekeeper holding all the keys, holding the truth about what's really going on in the UFO community, and not many people lied to the NY.
So the guy who came out with the TikTok video is being called out as a liar now, and that's the point.
Mellon in a remote part of the Pentagon parking lot. Chris Mellon lied to the NYT, the New York Times. Critical physics to fraud was a very
this guy Ronald Pandolfi
costly error. The U.S. Navy did not disclose Tic Tac. That was from a German fictional film project that Elizondo pulled from the internet, burned on a DVD, and then handed to Chris Mellon in a remote part of the Pentagon parking lot. Chris Mellon lied to the NYT, the New York Times, claiming that it was an official disclosure from the U.S. Department of Defense to his To the Stars Academy. It was not. Chris Mellon further lied that the disclosure included a record of transfer similar to a legal document. The only record of transfer was a used brown paper lunch bag with the DVD handed off in exactly the part of the Pentagon parking lot where enlisted would commonly share corn. I have to say it that way.
Corn.
There was a time when your book Destiny Matrix was proudly displayed in a large United States government library. There was a time when your emails were shared among serious people within the IC and DoD. Embracing fraud is not the same as committing fraud, but the implications are shared. There's a common perception that if you link to fraud, then your work must be fraud. I know that is not the case with your work, and I'm frustrated that you link your work to the loons and crooks. Ron.
Really?
So I had to say corn because it's something else. I just don't want to get flagged here. But adult content, let's put it that way, right? That's what I meant by that. So this is shots fired right here. Let's look at the Tic Tac video, right?
Remember this?
This was officially recognized by the Navy. They put out a press release. It's right here. You can see it. I'll put a link in the description. Sort of admitting, yeah, these are ours, declassified. So what are we talking about? This doesn't make any sense. Why would the Navy put out a press release saying that it was theirs if it wasn't?
Why would they do that? You know, when I reviewed those videos, the one thing I went through and pointed out was the fact that why does this always happen over water? Why does this always happen during a training exercise? Like, and then the guy in the video who locks on is celebrating like he won the goddamn Super Bowl. Like, not like there's an imminent threat within range of our military, right? But like he just accomplished something, like he just passed a test, right? It didn't make it, his reaction didn't make any sense to a combat situation. And I've asked people in the crowd here that have been in the military, does this jive with you? Or is this like a training exercise? So he came across like a training exercise, like, or something different, like it had been added or something. Like it didn't seem right at all. And I pointed this out several times over the last, since it came out, really. Even in the original videos from the Alien UFO, Alien Rabbit Hole playlist that I've done, series I've done. When I had Kaiser on, you remember that guy, Kaiser Pineapple? He came on for a show. And he was all about this stuff. He thought it was real. And I ended up showing him stuff. And we went down and looked up. He's like, you're giving me a lot to think about. Right. Well, yeah, because this stuff's all grifty, man. There's no proof of it. But yeah, then why would the Navy come out and claim it? Right. Because it's strategic. And it lets people's imaginations run wild with themselves. Right. So that's what they did. Yeah. The Rio was locked on a target drone. Yeah. There you go. I mean, that's all it was. They turned it into this.
Right. So they clearly took ownership of the from 2015.
You got the FLIR, the gimbal, and the Go Fast.
Right. The Go Fast, FLIR, and gimbal videos. Right. Mm-hmm. So in the FLIR video is from the 2004.
This is back in 2004.
Incident, like I said, with Commander David Fravor. And listen to Commander David Fravor talk to Joe Rogan about the video. Do you think this video is fake?
Jamie, we have the video. Okay, here we go. Now, explain what are we seeing and why are we seeing it in this particular
Okay,
shade?
So we'll just kind of go around. So if you look at the OPRs operate on the top left corner. NAR is narrow field of view, which is zoomed in. IR at the top middle, it means it's in infrared mode. So instead of seeing color, you're seeing temperature variations. Okay. And these things are extremely sensitive to in like tenths of degrees. They will tell you the difference due to color. So it'll go from black to white. So in this case, white is hot. So if you look down in the bottom left corner, it says WHT. That's white. It means white is hot. So the object that you're looking at is hotter than the sky around it. But what you also notice is there's no plumes. Now, if you're looking at an airplane, when you get closer, you'll actually see the exhaust coming out and there will be a really glowing plume. That's important as we look at the video.
So I don't know. If you ask me, this seems like, a real video from that incident. I don't know why.
Look at this.
Because this is a can of worms. I don't know if you're ready for it. So according to Ron's email signature, right, in this thread, Ron describes himself as being part of this foundation right here, the Kashmir World Foundation. The Kashmir World Foundation is a global network of dedicated volunteers, including seasoned professionals and driven students, united by a shared commitment to positive change. We believe in the power of teamwork and cooperation to shape a brighter tomorrow. Our primary goal is to unite individuals from diverse countries and cultures to save endangered species through innovative applications of autonomous robotic systems and computer science. Together with the best and most passionate minds, we strive to make a lasting impact on preserving our planet's most endangered wildlife. And when you hear that, you think, oh, that sounds great. Right. This sounds very cool. Now, Ron Pandolfi is the guy in the bottom right-hand corner, and in the bottom left is his wife.
That's his wife.
We'll get more about her in just a second. But on the website here, right, for over 40 years of experience in surveillance.
Pay attention to the name, Princess.
Communications, robotics, aircrafts, and weapons systems.
Now listen to this.
Head of the Weird Desk. And he can be very mean, and he's, you know, and what he says constantly is loons, crooks, and worse. And of course, he calls me a crook because I steal his quotes and I put them in books. And I say, well, that's how it works. You know, you take quotes and you footnote them and you put them in the book. That's how it works. And you take his story where I caught him on tape. I think that's why he's so angry at me he calls me a crook, is because I got this tape that he and his wife put on the internet where he's talking about the portal, where he says people have always wondered what it's like to go into the next world. There's been a breakthrough. Portal. The next time John, who's his friend sitting beside him, next time John goes to the desert, a number of us here will go into the next world and come back again. Mm-hmm. And of course, what's his story? His story is his wife is actually from the other side. She came through a portal and was found in a basket and by the Kashmir, and it was brought to the exchange with Reagan for the portal for the princess. And this whole bizarre story about the fact that you can go into the other side and stuff like that.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. Okay, so you have Grant Cameron, who I've had on the show, wonderful guy, sits down with James Iandoli just a few weeks ago. Also had him on the show. Great guy. I'm going to put a link in the description to that interview. I highly recommend checking out the full interview with Grant Cameron and James Iandoli. Okay. And Grant saying that Ron Pandolfi is head of the Weird Desk. Now, the Weird Desk is allegedly, at the CIA, right? The Weird Desk at the CIA.
The Weird Desk.
Then he goes off on this saying that Ron Pandolfi, he believes his wife, right, who I showed you in that other picture. I knew we'd come back to that, right? You can see her right here. She's deemed a princess, right? Has a royal background. Apparently, they found her in a basket and brought through a portal. And what? I mean, what? What are we talking about? So Ron Pandolfi made a video about his wife coming through a portal in a basket as a baby. And right. What? I mean, what are we talking about here? Right. Exactly. And that it has nothing to do with UFOs. There's something else, right? It's this whole
portals. It's all about the portals.
And that was what I've always had the dispute of, is everybody wants to do the nuts and bolts thing. And he's saying, if you're talking nuts and bolts and anti-gravity and stuff, that's loons, crooks, and worse. That's garbage. These guys are just trying to scam the Congress.
What does he call them?
He knows it's this weird aspect of portals and stuff. Even John Alexander was being interviewed by Gaia TV, and Sid Goldberg told me that they went into the parking lot, and he was still, Sid Goldberg's always asking questions. No, another question. And John Alexander's going to his car, and then John sort of gets frustrated, and he said, look, it's not about the UFOs. It's about the portals. He gets in his car and drives away. And I said, he actually said that? And he said, yeah. And this is the whole deal, that in the background, you suddenly realize there's these people, and now I'm actually interacting with one, and he's maybe off duty, maybe now already retired, and then he's in this position where he may be able to do something. And I think he's talking to me because I'm a Canadian. I don't think he could really do this to me. I think I'm the only person on the internet, except for one other person, that actually talks to on the internet, and he engages me everything I post, every single thing. You'll see his comments on there. And so now we've got this conversation with him. And I have said to him, and he actually said to, he actually offered me, I said, okay, you always say that these I'm a crook. These people are all loons. Everybody's totally nuts and they're insane and they should be in insane asylums. Okay, how about you tell us what's going on? And he said, okay, give me a list of questions and we'll have a debate. And I said, well, no, I don't want a debate. I just want you to tell me what's going on. And right now you're on duty. And as long as you're on duty, I don't believe a thing you're saying. But this engagement's taking place, that we may actually at some point have him on the record where he actually talks, and he's supposedly the guy with the keys, and he's called himself the guy with the keys, the gatekeeper. He's the guy that may control all the
no. If you have the keys, you're the key master. You're not the gatekeeper. You're the key master.
classified material and finds leaks as to who's leaking and
I
stuff.
saw Ghostbusters.
And that's where he's
You guys saw
like Saloons and
Ghostbusters.
Kirk. So if you're
That's the way it
talking
works.
technology,
do you know this individual's name?
oh, Ron Pandolfi, yeah,
It is. Oh, yeah, that's who I thought you were describing, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if you were.
yeah. Sorry, this is Ron
attributing-
Pandolfi.
So basically, Ron Pandolfi is the gatekeeper, holding all the keys, holding the
Well,
truth
he's,
about
no,
what's
he's a key master.
really
Get it right.
going on in the UFO community, and not many people talk about him except for a
He's a key
few,
master.
right? And he's calling everyone techno scammers, loons, crooks. You know, I
Oh
don't
my
know the guy. I
goodness.
have nothing against
The
him. I
drama.
don't know what's going on, right? I know I've seen him in the email chain. I've seen him sending emails. but
Email. What email chains are these guys in? I mean, he seems like he's kind of into the grift community a little bit. Maybe he's like I don't know. I don't know. I bring him up for the clips, but I listen to him sometimes. It's like, is he one of them?
One sending emails
Seems
and
like it.
talking, smack and going back and forth and whatever, and this is Grant Cameron saying this about Ron Pandolfi as well. And so that's just very interesting, right? For sure about this guy. And again, it doesn't stop.
So there's three. There was the three guys were Art Landau was the first guy that ran the weird desk, and from the first thing that Ron said when he started out this kind of stuff, he said we have a phenomenology problem, and it's I've always known. It was 1991. He said that we have a phenomenology problem. He didn't say anything about UFOs. It's it's all connected. Because he has this thing with his wife and the portal, and she's got a time machine and all this kind of stuff. It's just so wacko stuff. And now you look at it, you go like,
time
this
machine
might actually be for real.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
But he's disputing the thing where if people say it's aliens from other planets, he disputes all that kind of stuff. I think he's basically saying that it's way more complex than that.
It's a key master.
But I was going to say there's weird. Okay, again, anytime you're dealing with an individual like that, you have to tread with caution, take everything with a grain of salt.
Really?
Yeah, that's just a given, right?
Good
But
advice.
Also,
it's good for all you guys.
So Ron Pandolfi ran the weird desk after, Kit Green handed it over to him. I believe it was 1984, right?
83, yeah.
83, yeah.
And they'll dispute the weird desk. They'll say there's no weird desk. Yeah, there's no weird desk, just like there's no assassinate foreign officers desk, and there's no there's no desk. I mean, we assume that there's no
portfolio, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So again, it's going to get even weirder. Okay, if you didn't think it could get weirder, it's going to get weirder right now. All right. So James Iandoli is about to bring up something that I was like, wait, what?
But it's noteworthy to mention that, so you have the guy who was running the weird desk, Ron Pandolfi, allegedly holding all these keys, but the whole time, or at least since at least the 1990s, he's been assisting Dr. Stephen Greer.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any weirder, it does. Just like I said, Stephen Greer enters the picture.
Yeah, of
Stephen
course.
Greer's story goes that
I'm here, everybody. Hello.
he was offered security and assistance by a high-level CIA guy. As Greer claims, the highest guy at CIA that deals with this kind of thing, who we know was Ron, is who he's referring to, and he Dr. Stephen Greer even slipped up in the citizens' hearing when they said, "How are you still alive?" And then Stephen Greer says, "Well, we have friends like Ron Pandolfi." So he said that publicly, and I was like, "Wow!" And then you'll see in other interviews and videos that he does, he's reading emails off from a high-level scientist who's calling all these like people like Hal and Lou and everybody techno scammers, right? So, and that's some research that you did and that I saw pieces too, and I put the pieces together. It was like, this email's from Ron Pandolfi, and he's reading it on YouTube, right? And you could, if you go into the 4-part videos of Stephen Greer talking about the Atacama humanoid and the corruption around that, that's a whole thing. But there's older stories of Stephen Greer talking about how when he was doing Project Starlight, before the Disclosure Project happened, he was offered security on an executive level, aka CIA,
Oh, wow.
And that he refused it at first, originally in 1996. And then when people started dying, 3 individuals in particular,
he doesn't give a shit about
that he talks about passed away, Sherry Adamak being one of them,
Get down.
himself. Got this very malignant and dangerous cancer. Everybody got it like within the same month, which again he attributes to black programs, wet works, trying to take them out. I can't verify that claim, but the people did start going down around the same time, which is strange.
Right? I know it's a laugh a minute, dude.
He took the offer from Ron Pandolfi again, which he doesn't name him.
Ron Pandolfi.
That he wanted the protection, and he said ever since that point that this high-level CIA guy has been running protection for him, and that's in part, assisting him.
Down it goes.
Yeah. And Ron told me he's got protection. He's around him.
He's got protection too.
Okay, so Dr. Steven Greer is accepting protection from the CIA.
Oh, yeah.
According to James here, right?
He's a very important person. Steven Greer is a goddamn savior, man. That's why he gets the aliens abduct him. They tell him he co-creates things with them, right? He gets $2 billion worth of offers when the richest man in the world is only worth $5 billion. That's back in the early 90s. He gets that. He's supposed to be here to help disclosure happen, but he totally sucks at that job. I mean, he can't get that fucking thing done. It's been decades. Since the 90s, you're supposed to get this shit done. It is now 2025, Steven Greer. You still haven't gotten the job done. You're the worst savior ever. But you're still getting CIA protection. Well, yeah, of course. Through all the administrations, they don't know me. They don't listen to me. They don't do anything I say. But they give me CIA protection. Yeah, thanks to Ron and his princess wife from another dimension. It came through a portal. He didn't talk about the portal too much at all. Jesus.
And acknowledging it, right, from Ron Pandolfi, right? So Dr. Steven Greer is getting protection from Ron Pandolfi. And that makes me think that's who's been telling Dr. Steven Greer that Lou Elizondo is a disinformation agent, right? Because Dr. Steven Greer has been spreading that.
You think that, or you think that he just felt like him stepping on his grift?
Right. I think this is where he's getting
this
it
guy
from.
buys it. I think he just buys into all of it. I don't know what it is. There's something going on here with this dude, Patrick. Is like I think he buys into all of it, doesn't really do any research. He's like, well, I'm just a guy who holds this mic really close. I mean, I don't know. I'm on all these mailing lists and shit, and I have no idea what this dude's. I'll interview all the grifters. I'll platform them. Hell, I got 14,000 subscribers. I'll give them some reach.
Dr. Ron Pandolfi, right?
I have no idea what
I don't know if that's true, right? If this protection thing is true. James brought up that he had that.
You honestly think that CIA is giving Steven Greer protection from what? That's the rogue military underground base Lucky Skunk Works dudes who are shooting down aliens and have teleporters? How are you going to protect Steven Greer from a goddamn teleporter? You just teleport his ass in the middle of the ocean. Goodbye, Steven.
Dr. Steven Greer had outed Ron Pandolfi in this 2013 citizen hearing that happened.
Citizen hearing.
I went and looked. I couldn't find that, but I did find this from the same hearing, which is interesting.
Rockefeller's request for UFO disclosure was dealt with in the White House by the president's science advisor, Dr. Jack Gibbons. To prepare for the first meeting in March of 1993 with Rockefeller, Dr. Gibbons requested a UFO briefing from the CIA. That briefing was tasked at the CIA to Dr. Ronald Pandolfi. So if you want to know, that's probably the guy you should be phoning. Dr. Ronald Pandolfi, who's been identified by the New York Times as the top scientist in the CIA, and a man who is rumored inside the UFO community as the agency expert on UFOs, and a man that over the last 20 years has repeatedly interacted with many researchers inside the UFO community.
Me too.
As the CIA has a public position of no UFO involvement, Pandolfi gave the job of writing the White House briefing, which he knew would become public because Lawrence Rockefeller was involved.
Of course,
he gave that briefing job to a private UFO researcher, Mr. Bruce Maccabee, who had done a couple of UFO lunchtime talks at the CIA headquarters.
Good old lunchtime talk.
The briefing, therefore, became not an official briefing on the subject, but just a personal opinion of one researcher inside the UFO community.
So, bam. Well, you got Grant Cameron, who was just in that interview with James Indoli at the citizen hearing. It sounds like he was the one that outed Ronald Pandolfi in that hearing, because I watched the portions with Dr. Stephen Greer. At least I searched through the transcript and I couldn't find anything about Angeles in 1995 to learn more about China's missile capabilities. He became concerned that the satellite manufacturer might have helped improve Chinese military capabilities. The worries of the scientist, Ronald Pandolfi, were not warmly received back at CIA headquarters. Intelligence officials now say, and the agency killed his study, called a national intelligence estimate. But today, the information gathered by Mr. Pandolfi is part of a various criminal and congressional investigations looking at the transfer of American space technology to China, and more broadly at the intersection of commerce and national security in the Clinton administration. So there you go. Now, it doesn't say anything about him being because of Tim Taylor.
Then it goes to even this engagement I had with Tim Taylor, where he's sort of hinting at me this Hughes aircraft building in outside of LAX, where he's showing me these photographs, these two guys flying through space, and it's a painting. And he's asking me, he's not telling me, he's just asking, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And it basically was, this is where the jump room was. And I'm thinking, 2 years later, maybe, I'm thinking to myself, hey, why did you show me those photographs? Like, why was he at this Hughes aircraft building? There must be something to this. And now there's the story going around that he was part of this thing in the Bahamas, this
the Nassau, Bahamas group
with the time travel thing, and we discussed before we started.
Brown. And then again, right there, they jump to Ron Pandolfi. So are they connected? I don't know.
It doesn't matter. They're all grifters. That's what we can learn from this, guys. They're all grifters. They are all grifters. I didn't get to any of the X stuff because we spent more time on the stuff earlier, and then I lost the clip that I wanted, and it was just a mess. But man, I didn't. Okay, we got to do another one of these. I mean, I look. I watched numbers. The theme here started off strong. It's starting to dwindle a little bit. I don't know if it's just because there's a lot of things going on, or whether people's interest in the topic is waning. However, I'm here for you guys. I do enjoy doing this stuff, but if it doesn't fit, you let me know. Do you want me to keep going down this rabbit hole, or should I find something else to do? Because the numbers are telling me I should find something else to do, but there's still people here that love to come and do this stuff, and maybe we'll find some people along the way that really like it, and we'll build the numbers back up. But we went from like hundreds and hundreds to almost 100 tonight, so I have to pay attention. But at the same time, I still have more stuff I wanted to show you tonight, but we've reached our 3-hour limit. It's time to put the wolf to bed. And right? Oh man. Okay. So if you enjoy this stuff, you should come and hang out with us when we do these, because they're a riot, and I go off on them many times. Many times. Or if you're talking about that, or you're talking about dogs, I don't know. One or the other. Doesn't matter. Because if you enjoy this stuff, we do it. Man, I wanted to show you guys. Let me show you the one thing. What can I show you? One thing, a little bit of overtime here, just a little bit. I thought I thought I had everything organized tonight. Really was not as organized as I thought. I really wanted to go over that Jake Barber stuff, where Jake Barber was threatening one of the de-grifters out there, the average Chris. Was it the average Chris, or it was somebody out there he was threatening? Here it is. Yeah, it was the average Chris, man, literally threatening him in DMs. God, I didn't even show you guys this yet. Okay, I'll tell you what. Stick around for a second here. Let me show you some stuff I got on X saved. You guys didn't even see this yet. I don't think I showed it to you. Whoops. Hello. Look at me. I'm way up here. All right. So in case you don't remember this is when you hear people talking about UFOs shooting down our missiles or disabling nukes. This is one of the videos like to go without the music. See, look, I am a friendly UFO. I'm just here to save you from nuclear holocaust. All right. See, yeah. How fake is this? Wee. I'll explain it. It's fake. Fake video, fabricated story, debunked a decade and a half ago. Now that we have the real video, it's 100% without a doubt debunked. Jacob either made up this story or it's a collaboration of faulty memory. He didn't tell the story for 18 years until he sold it to the National Enquirer. So go with that. No records can be found of JCT Sands going through the desktop process. That's something different. What was the other thing I wanted to show you? Is this it? Oh, look, it's the Skunk Works. Guys, Skunk Works. It's a Lockheed Martin Skunk Works. There's the Skunk Works. The skunk has a cigarette in his mouth. He's bad. He's very bad, okay? Yep, that's the truth. Oh, look at this. I'll show you guys this. Russian forest. It's an egg. It's like a giant tit, right? I'll show you guys this, right? Go tap it with your pole. Sounds alien to me. It's definitely not fiberglass. Oh yeah, and here is the DMs where Jake Barber actually contacts the average Chris, who was a veteran, and I think that's why he contacted him. He's like, you know what, we can do some good work together there, buddy. We can do some good work there, good buddy, right? And I would encourage you to leave yourself a path out. We know where you work. These are some of the things he talked about. I'll talk about this next time. I'm just kind of showing you a little preview of what this is going to be about. I don't have time to go into it tonight, even though I was supposed to have time. We'll do more stuff on X all the way down the row here, and I'll have more stuff here from on that. So I've got a big Disclosure 2025 folder going with all kinds of stuff in here of crazy leprechauns and weird guys that make weird faces and liars and grifters, and they're all full of it. And that's the alien UFO rabbit hole. That's the way it works. That's the way it goes. So yeah, it looks like a boob, doesn't it? Like yeah, it did. Yeah, it was right there. And it was just sitting in the middle of the Russian forest somehow, some way, some shape, all that stuff. And speaking of which, there's something from Steven Cambian, who we started the evening off with. Whereas this guy, Ryan Bledsoe, the Bledsoe father and son team, they've got all their own weird UFO take too. And people are just making money off this. I don't want to be known for grifting people and stealing money from people. But see, some people are okay with it, and they usually are a lot richer than I am. But here we go. Where'd you go? Try it. See, look, this is the way you do it. You move your camera around a lot. You blur in, you blur out. It's the space station. It's the space station, right? And he's got it zoomed in. And he's trying to pass it off as an orb. And as Steven points out here, shooting across the moon, that is the International Space Station, confirmed. Ryan and his father are either dumb as rocks or purposely deceiving people for UFO dollars. That seems to be the thing that always happens, the UFO dollars. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope we've learned a lot. I think we've all learned a lot tonight. I think we've all had a really good time. I appreciate you being here. I'll be back tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern for Winning Tonight, Thursday edition. We'll be looking at the White House press conference post congressional address, and we'll be running over the top news and updates for the day, the week, whatever you want to do, the minute, it doesn't matter. Because we're all going to be here together. I'm going to send you guys over to Good Logic now. Hope you enjoy the ride. But thank you guys, each and every one of you. Thank you to everybody who super chats, who supports the channel, and does all the awesome stuff. Guys, I will see you real soon. Each and every one of you, take care. And I'll see you then. And until next time, everybody stay based and keep on winning.
you that